things here on the quest page. Here we go.
Turn your mic on, Kami. Can you see the video okay? Oh, I would imagine if you touch the screen. Unless you're watching it on YouTube.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Can you
Great.
see the video?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yay.
Are you ready? We are bringing you the Splatoon 3 into the Splatlands Invitational 2022. Coming your way from PAX West. I'm your head spray-by-spray host, Jordan Kent, and joining me, two casters that have been there since day one. Gentlemen, live audience, Splatoon 3, what are you excited for?
Everything! This game, we have waited for 5 years for this game to come out. We have been so excited all throughout, and finally we will get to see what the best players in the entire country can show us here before the game is even released.
Joined by Nine and Shiny. This has obviously been a day you counted down on your calendar, marked off every single day. We have some of the top teams in the U.S. here. What are you most looking forward to?
You know, it's rare to have so many high-level teams in such an early state of the game where they're able to try out these builds early and really test the limits of what this game can offer. So to have the talent that we have available here, with some players hitting 3,000 XP in Splatoon 2, it's only a matter of time before we see what they can do in Splatoon 3.
Let's go ahead and check out the early bracket as we get set to crown a champion here today. We are still going to find some seeding here and some turf war. And as you see, our mini bracket, teams battle in a mini bracket to determine seeding order for the semifinals.
Yep.
It'll be turf war.
Do you think Nintendo will try to use this to do some last-minute tweaks?
Can only be played
I think maybe that's a possibility, yeah. They're only going to have the weapons, I think, that were available in the Splatfest, so they're going to be a little limited here, but this will be interesting.
Well, I didn't hear anything about any limitations on weapons
today. Ashley.
That was on a Prochara discussion. They talked about that.
Litos,
Okay.
you're the team captain. How are you feeling about your team?
Honestly, I feel really confident because when we were playing a little earlier, we all got the handle of the game pretty down, and we're feeling pretty good with our chances of winning the tournament.
Bran, how are you feeling about your team's chances here?
Feeling pretty confident. I think that going into this tournament, we've been known as the best team in the Western scene across both North America and Europe, and we're looking to continue that streak here.
Bagel, Splatoon 3, new game. What is your favorite new special?
Mine would definitely have to be the ink vacuum, mainly because I really like the utility it has. It was really fun to use.
Synapse, what is your favorite part about Splatoon and the community it's built? Because it's kind of a special thing, right?
Volume up and up? Can you hear it okay?
Honestly, is the content that is being pushed out in the game, because in Splatoon 1 there wasn't that much content being pushed out, and nowadays almost everyone's getting in the hang of making content for YouTube, and it brings the community more together than before.
On the count of 3, I would just think about it really quick. Which team is going to win this tournament? And when I count to 3, I'm going to point at you, and you can all say it together, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Super B!
Jackpot.
Okay, can we redo the last one?
Super P.
Ah, very good. Who is your favorite member of Deep Cut?
Shiver.
Big man.
Big man.
Shiver. Big man.
Obviously, big man.
Big man. Big man.
Okay, well, that's unanimous. I will accept this as your answer. We all love Big Man. We will be bringing you more. Check it out. Until next time, catch you later.
All right, thank you, Ashley. We will also have Milana joining us here on the casting desk here a little bit later for some semifinal action. But
so the guy I turned in the VOD review for, he VOD reviewed for Super P too. So that's pretty cool.
Super P here, Nine. What stands out to you about them?
I mean, Super P is one of the true pickup heroes of this. A lot of the teams that are competing today do have established time. This is not one of those teams. They were players who pushed their individual unique weapons about as far as you could back in Splatoon 2. One player I want everyone to keep track of at home is Synapse. Been piloting that 52 gal in all 3 Splatoons and one of the very best to do it.
And Shiny, obviously Starburst is a team that has got some names that have been very well known over the last few years in the Splatoon competitive community here.
Some freaks of nature on that team that really their name alone just scares you into submission in a lot of these cases. Ice is one of the most impressive anchor and backline players that I've seen, and word is that they may return to that charger status that they were very well known for in the early Splatoon 2 life cycle. But when you have slayers like Brand as well on your team, you really have to be careful wherever you go.
And 9, everybody had a chance to dip their toes into the ink pools with the Splatfest last week, but now this is our first chance seeing 10 new specials in ranked mode, and that relationship between special and objective is going to be on full display today.
Absolutely, and even in Turf War, where your objective is the entire map, there are still certain specials that are absolutely stronger here, and I hope you all are thirsty, because I'd wager we're going to see a little bit of Tacticooler here today.
And obviously, it's just a matter of how these specials have now changed the way that you approach the game here, Shiny. It really feels like that these specials are very committal, and it's going to force you to engage with the opposition.
You know, I've heard lots of talk about the specials, how many of them feel fresh and new. You know, in Splatoon 3, there are 15 specials, which is technically the same number as Splatoon 2. But when you factor in that 5 of the specials in Splatoon 2 were actually different bomb launchers, there really is so much more variety in this game that you have to choose from.
And then obviously, 9, looking at all the different weapons you can go with, the early report from
I don't
these players is that
consider different bomb
everything feels
launchers
good. That it really
specials.
feels like it's not just going to be
Right.
a bunch of people running around with shooters, that it's opened things up again for your chargers, for your blasters, which is great news for a lot of folks.
It really is, and the lack of ink armor from Splatoon 2 coming into Splatoon 3 means that a lot of those weapons that could take you out in maybe one shot but could sometimes indirect, it means they're a lot better now, and that's why I'm really excited. I think today we're going to see some great variety, and we're going to see a lot of people go with their true comfort picks instead of what they think might be best.
And Shiny, when
Charges
it comes
are
to the
buffed.
Turf
It'll
War,
be
especially
interesting
at
to
this
see if
level,
that
so
plays
many of
out
these players
here.
talk about the final 30 seconds being huge.
You know, there's an ability that's basically built around the last 30 seconds. It's called last-ditch effort, and that is going to be a critical piece of many of these players' gear going into the tournament. They're only going to have main abilities at their disposal today, so picking those is going to be that much more important.
And then we also have one more ability that we'll get to here in just a second, but Mincemeat Metalworks, and here we go, Turf War. Super P versus Starburst and 9. What can you tell us about this particular map?
Already, Mincemeat Metalworks, the first thing you're going to notice here, all of these grates that you can run over, you can't turf on top of them, you can't swim across them here. It means that if you are able to get your anchor player like Ice on this spot that you see Biscuit, it's going to be that much more difficult to get rid of them.
You see Biscuit with the dualies. What else can you tell us, Shiny, about these loadouts? It's an interesting choice for both teams.
Man, the Arrow Spray is such a Turf War classic. It's going to have the Reef Slider, which is a great special that allows you to launch yourself forward and detonate it early if you want to. As we see an early pickoff there, the Crab Tank, another new special, was at the ready, but it's going to be Taco from Super P taking them down.
And already
the Wave Breaker does 45 damage.
To get this started here, you see Taco at the top, losing a teammate.
That's more than I was expecting.
On the map. Here is Juan, and really mid here, 9 is
so
a
if you're
lot
damage
more
good
than
and you're
what
not
they
paying
typically used
attention,
to.
it'll take you
is.
out.
And look at this, all the pressure. They're running forward immediately, and the pressure is still not done. Ice has moved up. Biscuit has moved up. That's going to be a delayed wipeout here. And Starburst playing with all the confidence in the world thus far.
Biscuit dropping down below. You see this Crab Tank ready to roll, retreating, trying to find a little bit more space. Pairs up with Bagel.
But both of these teams have played in the Turf War tournaments, so it's not surprising.
Starburst really has the advantage here. Their
all these are the ones who won that
Ice is using. The Crab Tank going to finish off one as they get the final shot there. And you also notice at the top there that Wave Breaker. That's going to give them some extra added advantage. You don't have things like 10 missiles right now calling out the enemy position, and that's where the Wave Breaker comes in.
Biscuit being mindful. You see that suction bomb going there to claim a little bit more territory, trying to cover some more ink. And 9, here comes the encroachment, and you see Synapse here with that Trizuka trying to keep him at bay.
Yeah, but it's only Synapse there. As that was going on, everybody else had gone down, and look at this again. They've maneuvered so well here. You've seen Biscuit go
couldn't take advantage of the Tacticooler there.
And now look at that. They've swapped up again, giving each other high fives as they go about.
And you see the advantage is for Starburst. Just over a minute left. 4 on 4 on the map currently. And at this point here, Shiny, you see the Killer Whale 5.1 coming out. What can Super P do to try and get some momentum?
First of all, the Killer Whale is one of the only global specials that you have in the game. It's also one of the only ways to target the enemy team with your reticle. But we also saw the triple ink strike come out. That was the slosher And that's one of the best things that you can have in the last minute of a Turf War match, because it gives you great coverage of the map, especially when you're down.
9, how about Biscuit hunting out the Splat and the Crab Tank?
The Crab Tank's so versatile. It's got 2 ways of firing. You've got a long-range just series of shots that you can apply, and then you've also got a true blob here. And Brand gonna go with the Trizooka. Almost gets another one there. One not bad.
Oh, Brand doing a great
They're
job of
starting to push
opening
back
things up. Under 30 seconds left.
They're
Brand
still keeping
one-on-one
that
gets one. Here
Well, they
comes
keep
Brand,
getting
trying
picks.
to approach a little bit closer, trying to pick off Taco, trying to move away to the side, gets splatted, and Zach, here's an opportunity for Super P with a numbers advantage.
Brand's devious run has come to an end. The tricky thing about that Trizooka is that if you don't get those shots fired right away,
Oh, that's a good momentum shifter there.
Is it enough? We'll see.
Yeah,
A
looks
late
like
push
it.
by Super P. Maybe they took the game. That's a lot of
yeah.
teal. Let's get the result. It is Super
Wow.
P getting the
Nice
win
comeback.
at the
That's
end.
why they say it's the
9.
only last 30 seconds
That
of
is
Turf
why
War
you
that
don't
matter.
give up. You see the look
Yeah.
of disbelief on their side.
I think I heard their call-outs and their screams all the way from up here, and there's about 20 rows of people here. That's why we say it's the last 30 seconds that matter here. That entire time, they were getting pushed back. All it takes is one overextension, one combination of specials that are able to take a couple people down. Eventually, they had to move back, and they did not look back.
And Shiny, it really felt like when
Yeah, once I
Brand
saw them
went
push under
down,
that bridge,
that's
I'm
when
like, oh,
things
they might have
collapsed
this.
for Starburst and Super P. Taking advantage of the
Those picks
situation
are so
mentioned
important. You
the
get a
final
pick
30 seconds.
or
So
two in those last 30 seconds, and Starburst went 3 down. And going 3 down with only 10 seconds left, that's what did it right there.
Oh, I know, man.
To do what Brand was doing up
you get
until
an
that
advantage,
point
you're
when
trying
they
to
went
push
down.
back.
So that gives Super P so much more room on top of the ink that they were able to garner with that triple ink strike to move forward and finally get the lead at the last second.
That is a huge victory for Super P, and confidence-wise, 9, you have to feel great being able to turn the tide that late in the match.
Yeah, it's especially with the way that the game had been going. It was all Starburst that entire game. They were pushed back, they were rotating around. So whenever you as a team are able to deal with that for 2 minutes and not lose confidence and say, we just need to get 1 or 2 down and then we can execute our game plan, that is mental fortitude at its finest and at the highest level.
Let's go ahead and check out the bracket after Super P steals one away from Starburst at the end, and now Super P 1-on-1, Starburst 0-2. That'll bring up the Mad Titans and Jackpot next, and obviously this plays a huge role because this is the seeding for semifinals. When you get to those ranked modes, matchups are huge here, Shiny, as you get set for really taking on these teams for a best of 5 here in just a moment. But we're going to meet our other 2 teams. Our very own Ashley Esqueda sat down with them.
Kyo, you're the team captain. How are you feeling about the team's chances?
Feeling pretty good. I never like to underestimate any team, so I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, we're gonna win. But like, you know, we're gonna try our best, and we're probably gonna, we're gonna win.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited to watch you play. I'm excited to watch all of you play. Q, this is a first-time experience for a lot of players here in the Invitational. Can you talk a little bit about how you're preparing for the tournament?
First off, I'm going in with a ton of confidence, and I feel like if you don't have that, then you're going to get really nervous on stage. And I think that's like the most important thing, especially when you're playing in front of a really big crowd. You know, you have to be able to control your nerves when you go up there.
Legend, tell me a little bit about your favorite special in Splatoon 3.
The crab, I just like, there's really no reason, I just like the crab. That's why I can't really.
Do you need a reason to like the crab? I don't think you do.
I just like the crab, I don't know what to say. Dude, it's literally like, I tried out the special and I just liked it.
That's perfect. I'm looking forward to seeing you deploy that crab tank during the tournament. Okay, last question. On the count of 3, I want you to say what team you think is going to win this tournament. Are you ready, Mad Titans? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
DNA.
That is not your team name, but I will take it as an answer. We will be bringing you more Splatoon content. Be sure
That
to
was
stay
funny.
tuned, and until next time, catch you later.
Thank you, Ashley. By the way, guys, I think Legend likes the crab tank. to be honest, if you look at his favorite special here. But, you know, you look at Mad Titans and Jackpot, and obviously two teams, 9 that were very well experienced, especially in the Inkopolis Showdown qualifying for this event.
Yeah, they did a great job, and both of the tournament runs that they made in their victories were quite dominant. And these are teams that have competed against each other so many times. There's some amalgamation of these players here, so I'm not at all surprised to see both teams say that they're very confident.
And then, of course, when you look at the loadouts and the makeups of these teams, there's a lot of balance that goes into it, Shiny. They're not just selecting any weapon for any random reason.
He is in the chat,
very
but he's not
strategic
talking.
in the way that they
Right.
design their roles.
Do you think, because Team DNA doesn't look like they're part of this, so do you think they're just doing a shout out to Team DNA?
So crucial and a much longer
probably,
stint
or
than
they're
these
just
sort
trying
of
to be silly.
sprint-esque
Who
turf
knows?
war matches. So maybe you have like your traditional anchor, your slayer, your utility player. That utility and farming up those very important ink-getting specials becomes super critical, especially again in those last 30 seconds.
What is most unique to both of you, and let's start with you, Nine, about player movement in Splatoon 3? Because there's going to be some changes as this meta continues to develop.
Squid
here
roll.
next week.
Yeah, so the big thing here, and it really applies to blaster players in particular, but with that new squid roll that you can do, it does push your character either far left, far back, far forward, but when you do that, it does actually push your shot a little bit further. So if you're a blaster player or a slosher player, that means you can pressure the opponent from spots that you couldn't normally.
And Shiny, we're going to take a look at the Mad Titans. As we mentioned, some powerhouses there that have championship experience. And, you know, this is a different stage, and you want folks that are familiar with this. And what really stands out to you about what they're able to do once they get on the same page?
This is the introduction of the old guard to the new guard. I think Kyo has been a very dominant sort of anchor player that not only takes that role, but out of the game takes a very like captain, vocal, call-out style role. And if you have a player like Zero at your disposal as well, who frankly hasn't been playing that much, but came back into the game like nothing had ever happened, like they had never left, honestly.
And Nine, I want to go back to the specials in Splatoon 3 because I think that's the thing so many people are excited to see how they will interact with these objectives and ranked modes. And obviously you talk to the players, there's going to be a lot of strategies we're going to see for the very first time here.
Absolutely. And
I'll be back in about 30 seconds to a minute.
What's so great is committal, how committal these specials are, because in Splatoon 2 you had a number of global specials: Ink Armor, Tenta Missiles, Stingray. You could displace the opponent and then go in, decide where you wanted to attack from. That's not going to be the case here. If you want to use your specials, you're going to have to be a bit more honest, a bit more committal, and more than anything, you're going to have to be creative.
And Shiny, on that note, how do teams best make pushes now in Splatoon 3? Because as we mentioned, you don't have those global specials anymore. How are teams going to utilize their specials to try and take momentum in some of these ranked modes?
Well, there may not be one true formula. It's very map dependent. There are maps that are a lot wider. There are maps that are quite narrow and have longer sight lines, but also sort of cubbies placed throughout the left and right hand side. So if you're a longer range weapon, maybe if there's a bridge, which a lot of these maps do have some sort of overhang, whether it's grading or bridges, maybe you set up there, or maybe you select a weapon that allows you to get back into the action quicker, like having the Tacticooler or maybe even the Squid Beacon.
Let's check out Jackpot. They're hoping for all 3 sevens to pop up here today, Nine. And for Jackpot, a team that you're very familiar with, a team you're excited to see out here.
Absolutely. This is a team of absolute juggernauts who have moved through. They have competed at the highest level, both against North American, European, Japanese teams here. And one player that I want to highlight is Q. She was speaking earlier here. At the end of Splatoon 2, a lot of Charger players moved away from Charger, moved to Splatlands, moved to Jet Squelchers. Not Q. She stuck with the Chargers the entire time, and I'd wager that with as strong as that weapon is looking currently, she's going to be rewarded.
And obviously, Shiny, with no Ink Armor in Splatoon 3 as of right now, that changes things for Chargers completely.
It changes things dramatically. You don't have a lot of that built-in, sort of defensive capabilities. On the flip side of that, though, the Splat Charger / Splatterscope was given the Ink Vac special that allows you to play what I would call an offensively defensive role. It allows you to get right into the action. In the ranked modes, I think we'll see this even more, but it allows you to take the fire that a lot of your Slayers and Skirmishers are going to be getting and allows you to dish out that damage right back to your opponent.
Now, Nine, we got to get to the new weapons, of course. You take a look at what's going to be at the repertoire. I mean, some people have really been excited by the Splatana so far also.
Yeah, it is a very pesky weapon. I think that's the best way that I can put it here. It's a weapon that likes to play at close range, but it moves very quickly when it charges here. And I think we all sort of underestimated exactly how quick it would be when it was doing that. We did see a couple of the players in the scrimmages that we played a couple days ago actually utilize it here. I think it's going to take a while for them to really pick up the true strengths of it, but boy, oh boy, is it hard to pin down.
And then finally, the aggressive players, your frontliners here, Shiny. What have you noticed in the last couple of days and a lot of the feedback from the Splatfest? Has anything changed for those frontline players as far as their approach?
You know, taking my own opinion of the Splatfest, where I was like, oh, the splatter shot really feels good. The Dark Tetra Dualies, for example, you can sort of roll around, and you also have the Squid Roll that gives you even more mobility. A lot of the players today are sort of falling back on old favorites, things like the 52 Gal, and of course that splatter shot I just mentioned.
Mad Titans taking on Jackpot and Hagglefish Market, and another map here, 9, that folks are excited about, and what can we expect here?
Yeah, this is one of the widest maps in Splatoon 3 right now. You can see at the top and bottom of the screen here a lot of cubbies, as Jack so adroitly put it. Ways to attack the opponent that they're not expecting.
And already, Shiny, we see a tent umbrella coming out for the Mad Titans.
Yeah, I want to honor 9 for this one. 9 was very big on the tent umbrella being a huge thing. That's another one of those weapons that's going to give you ink back. It's also the only weapon available today, as we see a great Exuka shot that has that squid beacon. If you want to get back into the action, that's the weapon that you have to pick today.
Leafy with that Trizuka, but has to eat a crab tank to the face, and that is a wipeout already for the Mad Titans.
I just got back. I don't know why I
disconnected.
disconnected.
Both of their game plans. Jackpot immediately built up the Tacticooler, ran forward and tried to push them down. Meanwhile, the Mad Titans had built up 2 specials to counteract, and they are rewarded with the first wipeout.
Take a look at Bert right now, letting that Tenta-brella just go ahead and move forward and create some space. Plenty of options here right now for the Mad Titans. Playing a little bit more defensively here at the moment, Shiny.
All 4 specials at the ready. They end up using the Tacticooler, the triple ink strike, and also the Splat Dualies as well. Their 4 specials going to come out, and it's going to be the ink fact. You can see how intense the fight is. It's going to be 2 members down there for the members of Jackpot, trying to force them all the way back. A couple of people go down. Token going to finally clean things up, but that was not easy for either team.
Token with the double splats. That's a 4-3 advantage for Mad Titans on the map at the moment. Just under a minute 40 left, and so far after that initial surge, you love the way the Jackpot is stabilized through 9.
Yeah, they've done such a great job of sticking together, kind of a little jab and poke style of gameplay.
Yeah, pretty amazing how they've held up with Mad Titans getting all those picks.
Once again, it's always 2v1s. Textbook right there, Jordan.
4-2 Jackpot. They're trying to move things forward, trying to cover all sorts of turf, but then they go down. All of a sudden, Mad Titans bouncing right back. This is what you expect to see from them here, Shiny. The ability to take a little bit of a dip and then bounce right back.
Kyo is certainly no stranger to the special, as we see a great shot there in the Trizuka coming out. The members of Jackpot are trying to spawn to the members of the team that are in mid, but they're not going to get very far. It's a 3v3 on both sides. And we have a pretty even amount of ink as we enter the last minute here.
Kyo trying to use that slosher to move forward. Kyo picks up a splat. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bert. And Bert right now just being a little strategic, building that special here, 9.
Yeah, right now the penalty for going down is so much bigger than trying to make a hero play here. Bert has stayed in the middle and been the stabilizing force for them in the entire game. Token moving back, needs to be careful not to get run up.
Mad Titans are in good position here. They lost somebody, but
left and right around the ink, picking up the splat against Leafy. Here's Madness in the middle, gets splatted, 2-2, under 30 seconds left. Who will have the final push? Shiny. Jared gonna have to do some work on a 1v2 trying to back up.
Yeah, not much can shut down Q there, but it was the triple ink strike that ended up taking her down, and we see the Tacticooler coming out. That's gonna be 2 down on the side of Mad Titans as we have a full wipeout on the side of Mad Titans.
Oh my gosh.
Is
the same thing gonna happen?
At the end from the Tacticooler, we shall see. How about Jackpot at the end? Another late surge, second game in a row.
That could go either way.
I see a lot of purple out there, 9. And that'll go the way
wow.
of Jackpot.
I mean, both of these games, what a treat it's been. Unable to tell who was truly in control until the last 15 seconds. And that entire game, Bert on the tent umbrella had been the stabilizing force, letting the other members jump in. As soon as Bert went down, the floodgates opened up. And what an incredible victory for Jackpot.
How about Jackpot down the stretch? We mentioned Tacticooler is one of those specials every team is going to run here, Shiny, and you see the impact it can have, especially late in the game.
It's amazing how many parallels we can draw from just 2 best-of-1 turf war matches, only 3 minutes long, and we can still see how important it is to have one of your main role players that are in the action right in the middle of the map go down. It's a snowball effect that snowed all the way through on Mad Titans, giving Jackpot the win there.
And that goes to show you just can't give up down the stretch. You never know what's going to happen as well, too.
I think that's a good lesson going forward with turf war battles.
Take a look at the results here in just a moment, but two big surprises down the stretch as well, too. And Jackpot, the only team to go 2-0. That'll put Mad Titans underneath them, Super P, and then Starburst at the bottom. So we will get set to set the semifinals bracket, which will be ranked mode, which will be really, really fun because then it'll be best of 5. And here we go, Jackpot versus Starburst in our first semifinal.
We're sure a lot of people thought that was going to be the finals right there.
In our second semifinal, those 4 teams will compete for a chance to be in the finals, which will be best of 7. Then, of course, we'll have one champion.
Yeah, well, Starburst is like the top North American team, and Jackpot's way up there too. Super P and Mad Titans are not as far up there typically, but they are today.
Yeah, the teams are still figuring this out as it goes along, and that's why a tournament like this is so fun. They'll be inventing strategies that we'll be using for years, and they'll do it right here.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Let's go ahead and kick it to Ashley Esqueda as we get set to transition to the semifinals.
Also shows you not to pop your special just because you got
broadcasters.
charged.
I am down on the show floor here at PAX, and I have, what's your name?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. I love the creativity happening here. You've got some tentacle bottle caps happening in your hair. You're obviously a big fan of Splatoon. Did you play the previous game, Splatoon 2?
Yes, I did.
And how excited are you for Splatoon 3?
I am extremely excited. I keep on checking my email of the pre-order every single day and getting a little bit sad that there isn't another email about it.
That makes 2 of us. I do the same thing. Every morning I check. What are you most excited about using in Splatoon 3? Is it the crab tank? Because I feel like for me it's the crab tank.
Honestly, I'm just excited to try out the different sets for the weapons and just mess around in Turf War.
That's great. And these players are probably, a lot of them, playing for the first time in front of a live audience. What do you think they're feeling right now up there on that stage?
They're probably nervous because, like, it's a bunch of people. There's going to be a bunch of people watching them if they make a mistake or something.
What happened there?
Okay, and Halia, thank you so much for talking to me.
Oh, that was interesting.
What are you doing? Stop it. Okay. Why? Okay. Why they would just cut to that like that.
Welcome back, folks, to the Splatoon 3 Enter the Splatlands Invitational 2022 tournament at PAX West.
All right, looks like we
have had a bit of a change here in the booth. Jordan has opted to take a short break here, our spray-by-spray analyst, but have no fear. We have brought in one of the finest Splatalysts in all of the land, Milana. And Mel, we've already seen 2 incredible Turf War games coming down to the last 15 seconds each time. What is your reaction to what we have seen thus far and what we're about to see?
You know, Nine, I would say that I was at the edge of my seat, but I don't think I could even sit down for that. I was down my feet watching that. Really is just so exciting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next.
Well, these teams have already treated us to a great time. Let's go ahead and pull that bracket back up here so everybody can see what we got to see in that last bit. Of course, at the top side, we're going to be seeing Jackpot 2-0 versus Starburst 0-2, and on the bottom side, you're going to see the Mad Titans versus Super P, both teams being 1-1. The ranked modes are on the table right now as we are in semifinals, and we'll go ahead and talk through the rules here. This will be best of 5.
Can't wait to see how this
We'll
works.
choose the mode with the lower seed choosing the stage. After the
I
first
want to
game,
see how
choose
Tower
the
Control
mode,
and Rainmaker
the losing
are
team
now.
will choose the stage.
Yeah.
Game modes: Clam Blitz, Splat Zones, Tower Control.
Well, particularly Rainmaker
and
with the
stage list, you can see
checkpoints.
stages
Yeah,
we've
like
played
how-
only once. We've got Hagglefish Market,
How is it
Mincemeat
gonna work
Metalworks,
today?
Undertow Spillway, Eeltail Alley, and the
And plus
Splurge
Clam Blitz,
Gorge
8
here.
clams now for
Zach, I'm
Super
going to go
Clam.
ahead and toss this to you immediately
Yeah.
because we have been bantering back
That's
and
gonna
I've seen-
forth
change a lot.
about Splat Zones.
I've
And
seen
we
some
know that we're
videos
going
of
here.
Clam
The
Blitz.
Splat Zones on Hagglefish Market here. So talk a little bit about the basics of
It looks
Splat Zones
faster
here and how
paced.
these teams are going to attack it.
So if you're new to Splatoon, this is probably going to be the most sensical mode to you from Turf War. There's either going to be 1 or 2 zones on the map, depending on what map it is, and you're going to have to entirely cover, or at least as close as possible, to get that zone to start counting down. You start at 100, your goal is to get all the way to 0, and if you allow the enemy team to take that zone over, you're going to be incurring a penalty, so you have to be cautious.
And Milana, I want to talk a little bit here about Hagglefish Market as a stage, because we just got to see what it looks like in Turf War. The map doesn't change a ton in Splat Zones. There were all of those different avenues that these aggressive players were trying to attack from. How do you think they'll approach those?
They'll definitely have to utilize that a little bit. We talked a little bit about it, and you know, Splat Zones on Hagglefish Market is going to be an interesting one because there's a really big Splat Zone right in the middle of the map.
Crowd, get hyped! This is your first look at ranked modes in Splatoon 3! Jackpot versus Starburst here, fighting it off here, the tournament life on the line. And Zach, what are we seeing here from these team comps?
This is honestly the anchor battle I wanted to see. You've already talked up .Q or Q on that charge with the splatter scope, but Ice again has opted to go for the heavy splatling, which is going to have the sprinkler, great for capping the zone, as well as the wave breaker, which allows you to see where some of the enemy team is hiding.
And already one very important mechanic here. You'll notice that when you hold the zone for a period of time and the opponent takes it back, you do have a slight amount of penalty that you will have to work your way through, meaning that it's always better to get the big points early on. Already a big fight, Q getting a big shot, and Milana right now, Jackpot looks very confident in the way they're playing.
They certainly do, but you know, you really can't count out Starburst. Starburst always plays very calm-headedly. They are there, and you know, we see it right here. They're taking the zone back from Jackpot just at least for a little while.
And Zach, we talk so often about the lockout phase in this particular mode, and whenever one team gets wiped out, it's that much more difficult to move back in. So far, though, it seems like
putting
both
it in the zone, that's
maybe a little
smart.
bit tentative, not trying to get into that scenario.
Well, honestly, the tactical make short work of that argument. It's not a breakable special at the current time, so it's something that you can literally plop right in the middle of the zone if you want to. Your entire team gets multiple benefits because of that, and even despite that, Bran continues to do slaying for Starburst.
Yeah, Leafy, a very, very bold play there, trying to get Bran as they dropped onto it, but Bran very quickly was able to get that punish. You see Bran continuing to go attack and runs right into 2 members there. Madison Jarris going to get the punish, and once again, they have not been able to crack this defense, Milana.
Truly, Jackpot is really playing their best game right now, and you know, they're going to have to be very careful, but you know, with 2 down on the map from Starburst, 3 down now, it's gonna be a tough one for Starburst to come back into.
Yeah, you saw there as we have a wipeout, everybody. Our first wipeout in a ranked mode here in Splatoon 3, and it will go the way of Jackpot. You saw that time Ice had moved forward to try to get a couple of shots there and got punished for it. Now look at this, the special's coming the other way. That's a tactic cooler. They are attacking all guns ablazing, Zach.
You know, I'm so interested by this Jackpot roster and how some of their rosters, like Jared, they really didn't have to make any changes going into Splatoon 3. They played NZAP in Splat 2, they keep it in Splat 3. But you look at a player like Madness, who's on the 52, what were they running in Splatoon 2? Nautilus, Tri-Slosher, Ballpoint. This is completely different, and they're still adapting so well.
And finally, a bit of pain going through this. Look at this. Jared trying to dance around and protection coming from .Q.
Wow.
And again, another delayed
They're
wipe out
picking
there.
Starburst left and right. I've never seen this happen to
This is what we talked
Starburst.
about last night, Milana. It is so much more difficult in Splatoon 3 to push back in because you don't have the displacement specials.
Definitely. We talked about the localization of these specials. That the new specials, you know, you have to really be up and in the action to be able to utilize them. But we do see that Killer Whale 5.1 coming out. And, you know, we did talk about that a little bit earlier, that it is one of those specials that you can use from, you know, your spawn, and it will reach all the way to the other side of the map.
And you get the sense this is really their last opportunity here. They've melted through that penalty. Just over 20 seconds left. A big play has to be made. There is a Trizooka here. Brand's going to need to make every single one of these shots count. They do move them. Can they take the zone? It's a fight. It's contested. Will Starburst take it?
Got it.
A penalty and some breathing room, Zach.
Man, once again, we mentioned that the Inkzuka is so difficult to use. That Trizooka, you really have to fire off all 3 shots in order to get the most out of it. But even just the presence enough of it was enough to back finally Jackpot off of the zone, giving Starburst finally some breathing room.
And more than breathing room here, they finally get a chance to have their own lockout scenario here. The difference, you can see how far up Q has already moved. She's trying to get a shot off onto somebody. Counter specials coming out here. These points are starting to tick away very quickly. Jared could make a play on this side. One down, another Trizooka going out, and the points are ticking away, Milana.
It truly is.
This
and
is
with
when you
only
start to
34
panic when you have
on
the lead.
This is
Yeah.
You know, Jackpot's going to really have to play their best game to get back into that zone.
They're doing great, though, working to get it back.
Not gone yet. They managed to hold.
Oh.
Ice has moved up. Another 2 frontliners going down. Leafy needs to stay up. Specials coming up. Another wall.
Yep.
Just a few more seconds. 5. Can they push in? Specials coming in. 2, 1. It's contested. 1 point. They're fighting over the zone. Can they hold it? Can they hold through? Everybody's shooting, and I don't believe this. A little longer. I'm running.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
Jackpot holds through all, and with 1 point left, that's a huge penalty they'll have to work through, Zach.
Man, the counter Inkzuka Trizooka was so strong
now
there, and you saw Ice
if you're yelling, your
back into
mentality
that
has to
tiny
be, we
little
did it
corner
once,
of
we
the
can do it
splat zone,
again.
doing everything
Yeah.
that he could
That
to
is
stop
so
that
heartbreaking.
heavy splatling. Unfortunately, it was too little too late, and yet again, the long
They have so
tentacles
much
of the
experience in
5.1
these situations,
make
though.
their mark for Jackpot.
And now with just 20 seconds left, that's going to be a huge pick from Jared. That's
I-
another one going
I don't
down.
think they can
Brand needs
now.
to find someone here. You see Bagel pushing up as well.
Oh,
This is a
they got
huge
one down.
mountain that Starburst is going to have to climb here, and that's if they can even take the zone. 8 seconds left. They've
They
done
got
what
it.
they need to thus far, but now everybody going down could be big.
But they have
That's
to
2
keep it
down.
now.
Q is going to pull out the ink back here. They're holding. They're fighting. People are going down, and we are in overtime.
We are, and you know, with these picks coming out from Jackpot, Starburst is going to have to play their best game.
They're going to lose their...
to that
Oh, they got in control.
ticking down. We are going to see the best of the best right here, fighting out for that zone right now.
A huge flank. Another pick coming out here. Just 30 seconds left on this penalty. You can see the overtime tick at the start. They're going to continue to hold and fire. No room for error at this point. 2 specials going down. They try to push. That's 3 down. That's a full one.
Oh, they lost.
And Jackpot will take game 1 of this best of 5. And
Even with the tacticooler deployed in the zone and them grabbing drinks, they all got wiped.
You might not have any more breath by the end of this now.
I'm already out. I have had so much honey, so many cough drops, and yet I don't think it's going to be enough. And I mean, where do we even begin here? Both teams had moments where they really worked that lockout phase of the game. All the other members were trying to come out of spawn, and when the game is 10 to 11, clearly they both did.
Right.
But throughout the course of that game, you got the sense that Jackpot was able to separate the members of Starburst and attack. And Zach, we talked so much about that. The way and the weapons that Jackpot likes to go, we thought would really fit well, and I think so far we've been proven correct.
Well, flanking is always going to be a thing. It's one of the tenets of Splatoon in general, but when you're facing an Inkvax that's sitting just right behind the zone, and you're trying to use every
Be
special
interesting
that
to see
actually
if
came at your
Starburst
disposal
can take
with
the
a
momentum back
tacticooler
here with a different
permanently
mode.
sitting next to the zone, and you still
If they
can't
get a
do
different
anything.
mode.
What are you supposed to do at that point?
I think
It
it's a
helped
winner
to break
picks the
down
mode, loser
Starburst's
picks the
aggression,
stage.
and that allowed
Yeah.
Jackpot to really hold on there at the last possible second.
And Milana, we have just heard here over the comms that we will be going to Tower Control next. So Tower Control, a mode that people are very familiar with, has been with us since Splatoon 1. What are these teams going to need to do, and what are the basics of this mode?
So Tower Control requires you to stand on this tower, and while the tower is moving through some checkpoints, in this game it's a little bit different than in Splatoon 3. In Splatoon 2,
Sure.
we have 3 checkpoints instead of 1 or 2. So the teams have to stand on this tower and maintain control of the tower as the timer is ticking down and make it pass through these checkpoints to be able to move that tower into kind of the enemy zone.
Absolutely, and Zach, we're going to be a broken record here, but we cannot talk about specials on this mode without talking about the ink vac. So I'm going to give the floor to you here. I think on paper you all can figure out why something that eats other specials, bombs, and main weapons can do it, but again, just what is it going to look like when they get up there with that special?
You know, I want to tie two specials together.
I tried
you
it
first
once,
have the
it's really
ink vac,
good,
and that, for your charger players like you, that's going to be a
I'm not
blessing for
either.
the rest of
I
your
didn't
team
try it.
because they can get up onto the tower where normally they would be back somewhere on a plat trying to hit shots, and they can be right in the action, helping to push the objective. You really only need one player on the tower. You can have multiple, but one is fine. And another special that will really help that effort is something that we haven't seen a lot of yet, and that is the Big Bubbler, which is only available on a couple weapons.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
but I
yet.
think those
Can you
weapons
put
are
the
going
Big
to
Bubbler
start
on the
to
tower?
dominate.
Yeah, and let's just, I mean,
Yes,
talk
you
about
can.
those weapons, the blaster being the one that if you've got a blaster, bring it out to tower control, everyone. It's great fun here. But the blaster, Milana, when we were playing in scrimmages against these teams,
I've heard people say the Big Bubbler is pretty shreddable, though.
Yeah,
oh, it is.
certainly. I think
But it
what's
still-
really
it
strong
still
about the
protects
blaster,
you.
if you're unfamiliar with the game,
Yep.
is that
You
it
know.
kind of has a pop, and this pop really you can hit a lot of players around this exploding radius. So if everyone is on the tower and you have something like that, it
we were
makes
talking
it
about earlier,
very
I do
difficult
definitely
to
see
avoid.
them.
Yep, when you cannot aim like myself, of course, we do go
Changing
with the
the tactical
blasters for
into
this
something
exact
that's a
thing, but we
little
are going to be going
breakable.
to Undertow Spillway, and if the
So
thing
have
with
you
these
watched
maps
these
has been
teams
very
very much?
narrow, this is the
No, I
narrowest
don't watch
of
much
the
of
narrow here.
competitive.
You're going to notice here
Yeah,
that the teams
Leafy
will have
is
to
an
rush to the center
incredible
where the
player
tower
on
is at, and there's
Jackpot.
not going to be much maneuverability. The teams
But
are going to get
like
into the
all
map
of
right now
Starburst
here.
are
Come on,
incredible
crowd, I know you've
players, so
still
this
got
is
a lot of energy
amazing
left.
so
This is
far.
only game
It still
two.
takes a
Come
team
on, we're
effort.
gonna be
They
going
got to
into
be
our
in
first
sync,
match
you
of Tower
know.
Control here in Splatoon 3 as the teams load in. Surprise, surprise, we've got the blaster, Zach.
As if by magic, both teams deciding that the Big Bubbler is enough and strong enough to bring with them. Technically, it's on 3 weapons that are available today, including the ever-popular Splattershot Jr., but the blaster with that new
Love that
ability
double
Intensify
ink curtain
action
there.
is just too good to
One
pass
from
up.
each team.
Again, you're going to see a fight here in the center. Both sides trying to see if they can make a big play with their blasters and open it up. Immediately, it does look like Starburst is going to have that first opening, pushing up here, and this is where these maps really start to open up, Milana. There are so many ways to attack.
Definitely, and you know, especially on this map, we do have these overpasses kind of on the left and the right sides of the map. And with this mode, tower control, we see that first checkpoint is very close to the center of the map, so it really leaves you kind of in a vulnerable position.
Immediately here, they're trying to attack the center, but Ice has been over at this side. A great placement of that new
Oh,
special.
those are some interesting deployments of specials
It's
there.
just Q now who opts to jump all the way back. So the way Starburst is attacking, night and day from that last game. You see they're going to try to shoot up there, see if anyone will jump down. The second checkpoint, they're already at 20 points, Zach.
I think the Wavebreaker is a great example of how well a special can be balanced even early in this game.
Yeah.
It's breakable, but it's one of the few ways that allows you in the current build of the game to find your opponents, as we see a great
They
splat
used
there.
Tactic
Ends up being
Cooler
equivalent
as a
of
shield
flat
where the
rather,
tower
and
was
it's gonna
going
be
to
a
go, and then
3v3
they used
situation. Brandon,
Wavebreaker
unfortunately,
where the
took
tower
out
was
just
going to
before
go.
going
That was
up
pretty
again, one of
cool.
those only global specials.
Yep, and that was actually a huge pick, as you noted there, by Peggle as Biscuit gets taken for a ride by Q. I was about to say that they still had good control of the middle of the map, which would allow them to maybe set up a good defense here. Now, I'm not so sure. Look at this positioning that Q is taking, Milana.
Yeah, Q is really pushing up and making it very difficult for Starburst to make that push back. Q, being a strong, incredibly strong charger, is not going to miss her shots.
So the camera shifted, but I think they put the Tacticooler on the tower too.
Moved up here with this ink vat. It's going to be that much more difficult for them to push. You see Q going to fire it, and Brand needs to be careful. Very cleverly was on the other side of the tower and will survive. Q is going to get run down there. A successful defense, this time by Jackpot at the start, as they've once again traded blows, Zach.
Yeah, again, a lot of the fight is still taking place in mid here, and because of the layout of this map, the Blaster really does excel at being able to peek over these kind of tilted hallways and walls to be able to allow you to see where the enemy is and hit them for chip shots even before you see them and their location.
And Milana, as we have kind of a scrum in the middle here, so often the order of operations in tower control is where is the opposing backliner, where is their charger, and what can I do to get rid of them here?
Right.
How they try to pressure Q has been
Look at that.
important.
There's the
Q has not moved from
Tacticooler
that
again,
spot since this first
strategically placed in a location they think the enemy's going to try to go.
You see just another really nice pick from Q, and she is really going to be that key member of Jackpot that, you know, Starburst is going to have to look out for.
They've done a great job here once again of getting back to mid. 2 minutes left on the clock here. Biscuit going down very early means the blaster will be out of the way, and Ice needs to be careful there. That is in range. A flank coming from this side, and Q moved around. If someone can get over there and assist, they might be able to do it, but no. Ice has pivoted on the other side, takes out Q and Jared for good measure. Madness going to try to attack, but I think that this is going to be a delayed wipeout. Another successful defense for Starburst, Zach.
You know, something that we haven't mentioned about Q's kit is that they're actually running.
Yeah, there's the tacticooler right on top of the tower. It didn't save him, though.
You don't plan to be going down a lot, but you plan to get a lot of splats. So that's going to delay the time in which they respawn. But unfortunately, if they go down, that's also going to delay it for them, as well as we see a beautiful wipeout coming in from Starburst on the other side.
Starburst has hit their stride here. One of the best attacking teams in all of Splatoon 2, and they have clearly shown that they can do it here again in 3. You can immediately see the whale being fired at Q, getting her out of that power position. They're going to try to hold mid here, and honestly, Milana, it looks like they might almost be content to simply leave the tower here and not try to push for more than they can get.
And you know what? That is totally valid. It is a great strategy that if you know that you can keep control of that middle and you're in the lead, who's to say you need to push anymore?
Here we go. 1 minute left. The tacticooler out. 2 people are going to grab it here. You get the sense that this is the big push. They have the big bubbler as well that they'll be able to throw on this tower if it comes to it. We've said so much about Q, but Ice on the other side.
There's the big bubbler on the tower.
Madness opts to try to take out Ice there. Needs to be careful, though. That's the big bubbler gone, and that was a big gamble, Zach, to try to get rid of Ice.
You know, if you're Ice, you look at Jackpot and you see, okay, they're kind of moving like a school of piranhas. They move together. It's very rare that you can pick one off separately, and for a weapon like the Heavy Splatling, that's going to allow you to sort of spray and pray in a manner to get multiple hits on multiple enemies to allow the rest of your team to finish them off.
And this, the final 20 seconds here. Every time that somebody goes down, it's going to be that much more difficult. That's 2 down with just about 10 seconds left. Biscuit is going to get taken down by Q. Well, you're going to see Bagel's shark around here. The wave breaker is down. They're going to put as much damage as they can on the tower. Q is up there with the ink back. This is how it starts, but with just 1 second left. Bagel tried to steal the game here, and hold on a moment here. That's 1 down. Biscuit is by the tower.
That's 2 down. 2-2. No.
And a great counter punch there by Starburst.
So Ice is one of the best Stingray players in the game, and I was wondering what special Ice would choose, and it looks like the Trizuka, which is interesting.
Even though he was on the blaster, he was charging a lot, making sure he's keeping an eye out for Q. So, you know, they obviously Starburst knew
I know from 1 to 2, the Stingray kind of replaced the killer whale.
And they dealt with it.
Yeah, and I love the way that Ice was positioned there. We talked so much about Q there. Ice was sitting on the grading on the left side of that map almost the entire game. And Zach, we have talked about the relationship between the Chargers and the Splatlands for years now. We've been talking about it since Splatoon 1.
Automatically.
The mobility of the Splatlings there and being able to go on that grading, we knew that was going to be a power position, and Ice really proved it to be true.
Well, Splatlings and grading go together like peanut butter and jelly, man. They really
I feel like it's doing the same thing that Tentamissiles are doing, in that it doesn't really follow you that much. I mean, it tracks you to a degree, but once you slip it once, it seems like you're kind of free of it.
It allows you to have devastating power from long range.
I mean, it's not hard to avoid, at least from what I remember from the Splatfest.
And I think that
the same thing with Tentamissiles.
We truly saw what
they're more
was going to make this game look
all the
like.
complaints about Tentamissiles.
The 3 of us have commentated a great many.
The most annoying part of Tentamissiles is running into somebody else's Tentamissiles.
Everybody coming back.
Right, but when you've got a team full of them and they're spamming them, that can be really hard. And I think now Tentamissiles don't even follow you. So
it does make the game quite a bit more chaotic.
Well,
but, you know, Tacticooler, it really buffs a player. When you grab that drink, you have increased respawn. Decreased respawn time. You have increased run speed, increased swim speed, and a bunch of other traits that, you know, it is going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah, everything in the kitchen sink really is packed into this drink. But you talked about chaos here, and I mean, Zach, here's your segue to Rainmaker here. Another ranked mode here.
Awesome, we're going to get to see Rainmaker.
This in Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2 was known as Don't Make the Mistake because the game might end, and we will be going to Rainmaker's Scorch Gorge nonetheless.
You're not kidding. Talk about chaos in a mode. If you want as fast-paced of action as Splatoon has to offer, look no further than Rainmaker, because one 3-down situation or full wipeout in this game is going to provide you with a huge burst of momentum. However, there are some subtle changes to Rainmaker that I don't think have been really discussed yet in Splatoon 3, with the addition of additional checkpoints that you have to reach, almost like tower control. Some maps have just one, others have two, I believe, but you can swim there, and then you have to break that Rainmaker shield all over again, and if nothing else, that might just slow down the pace of play a bit.
Yep, and it is worth noting here that you cannot swim the Rainmaker past those checkpoints and continue to score. You will have to dunk it each time that you want to move through. We're going to jump right into the game right now. The teams are ready here, and it is worth noting, Milana, this is a mode that Starburst dominated.
Yeah, how many checkpoints, I wonder? Are you okay, Kamikaze?
Yeah, no, my cat was in my lap and she decided to fall off and try to catch herself with her claws.
You know, the Tri-Slosher is a really,
so it looks like 2 checkpoints and then the...
in this new iteration
or
of
maybe
the game.
4.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to change the tide of the game.
Taking a look right here again, the team's opting to play it a little bit safe. That first initial pop of the Rainmaker shield is going to go in favor of Jackbot here. They will be the first ones to attack. The Inkjet going to be fired.
Yeah, it looks like 2 checkpoints before the final.
Fired the other way. This is a lot of pressure coming over here, and I'm sorry, wait, that's a checkpoint already. Zach, what is going on?
How did Madness get back there? Madness went all the way around that block, and as they were so distracted by the Tri-Slosher's Inkjet, were able to pick up a lot of damage and completely distract from the Rainmaker, and already we have our first dunk on that temporary pedestal.
A very, very quick pedestal dunk there, but it's only to 68. Of course, not a winning push most of the time, and you saw very quickly they put up the right specials that they needed on the defensive side. The Rainmaker does go down very, very early here, and right now, got to get out of there. That Inkback is going to hit hard. Sharking here in the mid, trying to find another pick on this side. Will not be able to do so. A gamble does not pay off. And once again, Milana, it's Madness who has been making huge waves throughout the start of this game.
I mean, Madness is definitely not a player that you want to sleep on. I think with that, you know, the 52 gal, it really is kind of a devastating weapon as we've seen in Splatoon 2 already.
Taking a look again, Ice moving up here onto the grading, and Q immediately spots him here. This is the battle that we wanted to talk about here. Well, look at this. They haven't fired at Ice, and now Ice has the opportunity to take out Madness. Can Ice get another? It's a trade here, but they have the Rainmaker. Will they opt to push it? It is just Q up, and Q does have the Inkvat, the best tool for stopping a push. Can it get it done single-handedly? No. They will be able to at least get this first checkpoint here. Immediately, they're going to move back, try to rally the troops, Zach, but you love to see that response from Starburst.
As a quick aside, I love the quality of life in UI change, where you can see which player is carrying the Rainmaker on the screen itself. It makes the game flow so
It's going to hurt my playstyle quite a bit, I think. But that's okay. We'll figure it out.
So Jackbot able to stop that push. Only 1 point of difference separates these teams now, and it's all because of the addition of those pedestals.
The dashes will still work. It's just you got to do 3 of them instead of 1.
When you pick up the Rainmaker, you do lose your main weapon. Not a bad weapon, though, is this Rainmaker. Going to fire it out. Ice caught in a really bad position, still surviving and swimming away somehow. But this is why it's a gamble. You'd love to have control of mid before this pickup happened, as we now enter a Rainmaker free zone. This timer is going to tick away very, very quickly. But honestly, Milana, they might be okay with that. They're waiting for Starburst to run at them.
And, you know, I think playing a defensive position is always going to be easier, especially in a game as fast-paced as Splatoon, than a position that's more offensive.
And the biscuit firing here, and Jared, a very valid trade there. I did not think that was going to go through. Again, they picked it up here. Madness working on this side. They call out Madness very quick. Again, just barely. Zach, it seems like so many of these pushes are hedging on just 1 or 2 of these fights going the opposite way.
You know, at the competitive level, picking your battles is really important. Sometimes you don't have that luxury, but when you do, if you're somebody like a Tri-Slosher and you can trade with either their anchor or their mid-range player, that's a trade you'll take 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, you got to figure out ahead of time where those pedestals are and where you're going, and the routes there.
It does look like there's one left and right.
Starburst, but it seems
I
like
don't think after they got on the pedestal
taking
kind of cuts in half.
Yes, we
definitely
see that, and you know, we've definitely seen a history of support players.
So it's not like you can camp one route.
If you're good with the Rainmaker, you're good with the Rainmaker.
And I mean, kind of unbelievable here the way that this is gone. We thought after that explosive opening, Zach, that we would see big, big pushes, but we're still stuck at 68-69. But look at this. That's a tactical and Leafy diving in. A good decision, I think, to try to make the play. Can Ice steal a point here to take the lead? They only need 1 more, and they can't get it.
The problem is you have these specials like the Big Bubbler that give you such a big advantage and allow your Skirmisher and Slayer players to get that ink ahead of you. But as the enemy team is coming back, once you're out of that Bubbler, you're back out in the open, and the advantage of the sightline was in Jackpot's favor, allowing them to stop that push.
Wisely playing the Rainmaker there.
It looks to me like you have to get at least past the first 2 checkpoints
That was the right play. Madness goes down here. This
to get a point victory without it being.
Shot, but they are going to get it. Only 4 points, Milana, but it was just enough.
Well, they both got 2.
Oh, okay, no.
You know, with the way that this game has kind of been a little bit of a stalemate, I think, 3 points really could make or break the difference.
The second
Keep an
person
eye on
gets
the top
there
of the
loses
screen,
a
everybody.
point.
The special is going to be so important here. You know that the members of Starburst are going to try to sit back and not make any unforced errors. The ink vac is at the ready. They're going to get it started with the inkjet. Will they be able to run it through? All the fire going through here, and Q is going to fire it. Here it comes.
They're going to get it.
Wait too long, and they did. You saw that the members of Starburst were waiting back, but they were not able to call out how many points there were. They should get the opportunity here. They've grabbed it, and we will go into overtime. Keep an eye on the top of the screen. They're only going to have
That's
a
why I
little bit
think
of time,
something
and
like,
if this goes
especially
down, Zach,
like
that's the end of the game, no matter where you're at on the map.
There should be some kind of light line to
They've already
let
gotten
you
2
know.
picks, and they only ones left for the
this is
52
where
in
you
the end
gotta
zone,
get
but
it.
they
This is where
lose
they
in
have
the
to
last
stop.
second. The last player alive.
Yeah, so that
will
looks
take them
really
down.
confusing
I
on
believe
figuring
that's
out the
Jared
points
with
on
the
Rainmaker. It really
game-saving
does.
play, and Jackpot going to come
I'm
away
sure
with
we'll
that
eventually figure it out,
despite a
but
pretty solid
it's going to be hard to know where you got to get to for that
And
point
would love to
lead.
think a little bit about how that
Yeah,
push that they were able
especially
to
some
get that
maps
took
like
the lead went. You saw that they started with the
Even
inkjet
two on a
Milana
map
to
like,
push them back, and they followed with the ink vat to
Maury
take any
Towers.
fire and protect that Rainmaker.
Moving
We knew
left
that
and
was
right,
gonna
even
be
though
a
you're
popular
moving
strategy,
closer to
and
goal,
see
you're not
that
getting many
be
points.
what
Once you
takes
get up
game
those
one
walls,
That's right.
on
you
Rainmaker,
cut it down to
it's
like
so
40.
lovely.
I think,
Yeah, so they probably have that on these maps too. We just got to figure out where those points are.
They're
Right.
in the thick of the
Well, like I
action,
said,
and you know, they're
I don't know, it's just
using
my
it
own
to be
personal
able
thing.
to
I like to
attack
see
that
some kind of a
objective
line
and to make
versus,
that
you know,
objective move.
well,
So
faint white line.
I think it's a game changer for Splatoon 3.
I got to make this line, or if I got the lead,
We've seen
I
3
can't let
games
them
and they've all
pass
been
this
the
line.
exact same way. They have been absolutely
Even if
Right.
it's just
this
in
is why it
overtime.
was so exciting to get
Right.
these 4 teams, these players.
Yeah,
here,
it'll take
get
time to
everyone
figure
get
that out,
together and tell them
but-
to try their hardest. This is the kind of magic you see.
I mean, did we honestly expect anything different after
The cool thing is with casual ranked modes now, we can figure that out without it costing us a lot.
So much explosive fun to be had. The other thing is now we have to go into the only mode which we have not yet played, and that is going to be Clam Blitz, which 9 has undergone some changes, I believe.
Yes, some very big changes here. For those of you who are fans of Clam Bits, you will note that it only takes 8 clams now to build that power clam. In Splatoon 2, it took 10 of them, now only 8, and the pods around the map that they spawn in will spawn in groups of 3 rather than groups of 4. So Milana, I'll pass this over to you.
Okay.
I know Clam
SMB
Blitz,
2
some
was
people
saying
love
the
it, some
same
people
thing
love it
that
less.
maybe it'll
But
change how
what do you
many
think that these changes are going to
groupings they
mean for
spawn
what
in.
this looks like at the highest level?
I honestly think that it's just going to be really
Yeah, I think
chaotic.
it's 3
think
clams to a
having all
grouping
those
now
clams
Yeah, that's what they
spawn
just
instead of
said.
4.
in the middle of the action is really going to make a difference, and you know, they're going to be fighting for those clams.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a great danger here. And Zach, you and I even noted here when we were talking with the players yesterday, it seems like a lot more clams, at least at the beginning of the game, start by your spawn, which means that these teams are going to build up that very first power clam very, very quickly.
The way I read this is you're
Ron is
going
so
to
smart.
have to work really hard
Yeah.
after you break the barrier in order to maintain a push. It may not be as difficult in the early game to find those clams, especially build up a power clam with a 2 less requirement. But when you actually get the push and you don't have things to jump to necessarily, maybe a big bubbler, but you're not going to have something like a baller, the bubble blower from Splatoon 2, you're not going to have those at your disposal anymore, so you're going to have to be that much more cautious when determining when is the best time to push.
We have been told that it'll be Mincemeat Metalworks that we'll be going to here, so everything we talked about with the grading going to be all the more important here. Take a look as we get set for our very first look at Clam Blitz here in Splatoon 3. The team comps coming out here, all the same coming out from Starburst. Some slight changes here, going back to 3 shooters here from Jackpot, Milana.
We really do love to see those shooters coming back for another pass for Splatoon 3, and we already see one member of Jackpot going down. That early pick for Starburst, maybe giving them a little bit of space to build those clams.
And Zach, you immediately pointed to the screen when that happened. The way that Starburst attacked that left side of the map, you knew that they had an idea of how they wanted to take initiative here at the start.
That's ideally the best pick you can get at the start. If they're not going to have a tacticooler to initiate with, and your team will, that is a phenomenal start to the game. However, the Killer Whale 5.1 is going to be reaching out for any members that they can find. It's currently a 52v52 battle, as instead they opt to hang on to their Killer Whale, and it looks like Jackpot is waiting for the right time to push, as they have slightly fewer clams than Starburst.
Keep an eye on the clam counts at the top there. As Zach noted here, you will see 15 and 8, but no power clams yet. They are opting to separate who has power clams here, because it makes it that much more difficult. And also, Milana, on that UI, you can actually see who is carrying how many clams.
Yeah, and you know, if you as a member in this match knows how many clams the opponent has, you might want to, you know, target them a little bit.
Two huge splats here from Bagel. It really seemed like the initiative was starting to go the other way. They're actually going to get a third there, punishing the super jump in. And again, they've opted not yet to attack.
I missed that. What's the neat little buff?
You see up top,
the sense that now
on their
is the
icon,
time.
you
They're
can
going to
see
try to grab a couple
super
more.
clan,
The Biscuit is able to get one more of these members in the
Oh, yeah, that's
then
cool.
It could be it, but they might have waited too long.
I think a little,
When
just a
you
little
pops
number
the
would have
ink
been more
back,
effective.
You know that you as the enemy
It's
team have overstayed your welcome. Your anchor or charger player is one of the better players to have that power clam on, and also one of the better players to hit 90s when they're making shots like that.
And again, look at this. The push had finally started the other way, and now it's Ice saying, anything you can do, I can do better. You got one great shot, I'll get two. The mobility again of the Splatling going to allow Ice to survive that engagement, and the punishment will come through
great
again.
use of
Keep
that
an eye on the
sprinkler,
clam counts.
too.
Where is their power clam? They're fighting on both sides. Another assist, as these teams, Milana, just don't seem ready to make that first score.
I mean, if they keep getting picks like this, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to those clams long enough to make a power clam.
Oh, and the one thing they didn't want to see the blaster of Biscuit there. They thought that they were safe from the shooter, and they were, but the blaster, no issue there. They're maneuvering around here. Two have gone down, and once again, these teams holding on. Zach, surely we would have seen a score by now.
Those jump-ins are so risky. I mean, Jared was practically playing Protect the President there, but the blaster hits multiple targets. It won't just hit one there when they're that close together, but it's going to be Starburst who has two power clams at their disposal, 18 total. They're still pretty far backed off, but they're hoping that this Tacticooler and the Killer Whale 5.1 will finally give them an edge.
Yeah, this is the one thing about the Tacticooler that's a little rough. If you put it back here, you're giving up a lot of map to try to get it there. Thankfully, they did have the Killer Whale to at least defend them. Very fortunately, surviving there. Some punishment coming out, the most satisfying sound in the game, Milana.
Truly is. But you really, this
wow.
is just so
This
much
is just
back and forth. We really
carnage back
I don't
and
even know what
forth.
to predict at this point.
Again, you can see that they're pushed back here. 9 regular clams rather on the side of
marathon
Jackpot.
overtimes with it like
you see that
this.
Jared is sitting on 7 of them there, and there he goes. Q passes it down. They
both
sense
could
that
be
now is the
waiting
time. But again,
no time
Madness
left
on the
to pop that
52
basket
going
and take
down
the
too
win.
early.
Yeah, we see the big bubble get deployed in mid. That is going to give them a bit of help there. But if you're not in the bubble, that can't do much for you as 3 go down on the side of Starburst. However, they're somehow able to return the favor and get 3 down on the side of Jackpot. It really is a tug of war.
I mean, Brand may have saved the game right there. All of the momentum was going the other way, and Brand, with that 52 gal, with that splash wall, able to hold on. Once again, Madness going to be souped up here with this Tacticooler. They're going to try to make the push in as we get to just 1 minute left on the clock. All 4 members right next to each other. They've stacked 2 specials. Make it 3 specials, Milana. This is it. They're going for broke.
This is it. They're trying to make this play.
Oh, they got a pick.
The Clams basket is just in such an inconvenient position, but unfortunately, Jackpot has 2 down. Jared next to that Tacticooler is not able to make something happen with this clam.
Maybe he can, though. Jared on a huge pick right there, and now has the invulnerability of that Tacticooler. Runs forward, and an incredible direct by Biscuit once again to push that aside. Ice dancing in the middle with Madness. Gets taken out. Madness is able to escape, but this power clam gonna go away. And we are at 30 seconds left, Zach, with neither side even having a power clam.
I can't tell if Jared is trying to star in the Matrix or bend it like Beckham with those shots on the end zap. They were able to get around that block. We see yet another takedown from Q. And I want to point out, they swapped away from Respawn Punisher over to Thermalink, which means if they get tagged, they're going to be seen by Q.
This is it. The ink vac is right there. They're going to try to go over these gratings here. Can they find one more special to make this happen with? They're going to fire. That's 2 down. They're going to try to go on the right side. They fired it this way. Can I shut it down single-handedly? Jared moving, grooving, trying to come up here. There might be enough protection. Jared opts to go back, thinks better of it. This entire time, Starburst not even trying. Can Jared move through? He cannot.
Oh my
once
goodness.
Again, closing the door. But now, wait a minute. There's still no power clam. This one's going to disappear.
But they keep picking enough of Starburst down that Starburst can't get a counter push either.
I'm totally at a loss for words. Really, both of these teams are under so much pressure.
Whoever gets that super clam.
100-100. We really, the first team to score a power clam is going
So right
to
now
take
you're
the
trying
victory.
to
Which one is it going to
mentally
be?
break your opponent.
If we wanted to know what it's going to look like in Splatoon 3,
Discourage
how
them
about
and
this?
just take
Both sides
advantage
giving
of it.
so much respect. Again, it is Jackpot who is going to make the build here. They're going to try to score this power clam. Jared, you see, has
Jackpot's had the
way
best
back.
coordinated
His big
pushes
bubblers
thus
should provide
far.
Biscuit at least a little bit of defense to figure out how
But
he wants to move in.
When you're coordinating
They're gonna stack
that
here
well
on
and
this
pushing and you're
side.
still getting stopped,
Biscuit
man, that
waiting
does
there.
do
Can they
something
find a
to you.
pick? There's two power
Yeah.
clams here. It's Bran again with the 52 gal. Is he going to be able to get both? He does. It's a wipeout. Can they
It's a
find enough
wipeout.
clams? Bran at
Can they
6,
capitalize
Biscuit
in
at 7.
time?
This way you can see them spamming it. Can Biscuit get there? He needs one. The splash wall up. Can he toss it? And they
There it
do!
is. Wow.
Going to game
What a
5.
game. What a game.
Starburst
great
with
defense
the
and score the last
longest
point.
game in the history of Clam Blitz gets the victory. All of that time spent on the defense, a wipeout, the presence of mind to grab that many clams, to pass it, spamming this way, and then again you saw Biscuit could have rushed straight forward Milana and tried to score. Instead, backed up. Bran said, I've got a splash wall. Let's take out the one member who can attack, and what a reward for that type of patience in that situation.
Having that kind of level-mindedness is just exactly what we expect to see from Starburst as extremely seasoned professional veteran players, you know, having that calm mind, even in a situation as high pressure as that, man, I only wish I could be like that.
I'm going to mute for a second here.
Go ahead.
I mean, this is unbelievable that we have seen.
Okay, I was able to make it.
Hello.
Go in this fashion. This is not scripted. I promise to you that this is not scripted here. This is simply what these teams are able to pull out when greatness is required of them. And now, Zach, we do have the opportunity to go back to one of the modes that was played earlier. We played all 4 modes, and it looks like we'll be going back to tower control.
Well, I guess for their comp, it makes a lot of sense. They've been reliant in these ranked games on that big bubbler, and tower control is going to be arguably the best mode that you can go to when you're opting to run that special. Of course, the blaster, part of what was so instrumental in allowing that final push to happen. If you thought the overtimes in Clam Blitz in Splatoon 2 were long, just wait until you get more glances.
This has been some great gameplay so far.
Yeah,
I mean, again,
that last one was
gonna
more
need a little
mental
bit
than
more
anything
water
else.
here with the way that these are absolutely destroying my voice.
That is
But
frustrating.
Milana,
You're doing everything
you've
you can
competed
do.
at this level for many, many years yourself here, competing at some of these Nintendo
and you
events.
just can't
know
get that
tower
super clam
control,
in.
very, very scary, especially in a game 5.
You see the presence of mind. I think it was Bran. The presence of mind. He had the super clam, and he's right there by that little hump to score. And he had the presence of mind to jump back and get the pick first before going in.
Better than that. And oh my gosh, Zach, you already pointed out double 52 gal coming out here from Jackpot. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
You know, 2 is the magic number. The score is 2-2. We got the 52 gal, which is a 2-shot weapon, and they're going to be bringing in that Killer Whale 5.1 twice, which is going to be so difficult to match no matter where you are on the map.
Both sides trading a member down. Ice is already down here. Important to note, that's a really, really big pick. Now Bran is going to have to try to go back over here and punish again, getting incredible fall-off shots. And now Bran, the other member on the map who's playing this 52 gal, going to go ahead and punish and push Q back in this scenario. Was looking scary there at the start, Milana, but Starburst riding the ship.
They definitely are, but you know, still, we do see that Starburst they do take that tower, and that first checkpoint is really not that far from where that tower started.
Moving up here, watch out there, Q. It is Biscuit who's going to very wisely and quickly move up here. Another member is here. Hold on a moment. Bran's actually going to go down. The punishment again. That's 3 down, Zach. And now this is the moment that the attack can happen. That's the other one going down, a delayed wipe. And where will Biscuit set up here? In a great position to take this push even further.
Bagel doing a great job of holding down the tower, popping the tactical, which almost acts as an impromptu shield because it cannot be destroyed. So as you're hiding behind it, it even gives you a little bit of pressure if you're not sitting in that big bubbler. And I'm glad you mentioned Bran, because Bran now has to be better than not
Another
one,
wipeout.
but 252 gals as Jackpot gets an entire wipeout.
And this was the scary part that we saw so much in our scrimmages with these teams earlier. So easy to attack. When you have a wipeout, you know that it's going to be 3 specials coming forward in the tactical makes it 4. What is Starburst going to pull together on the defensive side? Nobody went down with those specials. They were very patient and waited. The lead will change, but they are looking for a lot more than the lead here, Milana.
They certainly are, and they're moving.
That was a great counterattack.
Checkpoint, and Starburst is going to have to really pull it together. But you know, it's you know, they do.
Yeah, they did a great job there. Biscuit was positioned perfectly with that blaster there, and you saw that the members of Jackpot were willing to maybe stay there a little longer than you normally would to try to get through that last checkpoint. Getting through that last checkpoint means that every single push afterwards would have been that much easier, Zach.
Yeah, Jared and Bagel sort of being the unsung heroes of these matches. There's always a tactical around when you need it. It feels like 2 people are playing that special, but it's really just 1 per side. As we see yet another killer whale going to go out, that's going to help target and find some of the members of Starburst who are dancing and dodging around, trying to build up specials. It looks like most of them are about halfway through and waiting for another opportunity to pounce.
3 members of Starburst bunched up there on that right side. That means they're going to give up a lot of ground, and thank goodness Bran respawned in when he did. That was going to get nasty in a hurry. Instead, it's going to go the other way, but all your momentum slowed down for the Inkvac. Great shots there by Ice, who trades with the Inkvac. That's not bad at all. 2 minutes left on the match. You can see Bran waiting to push up, Biscuit going underneath and not able to get there in time.
Madness got him.
And you know, I think like we mentioned before in that earlier tower control match, if they don't have to push up, maybe it's not the best idea to not push up. And you see that Jackpot is really just maintaining that mid control and, you know, propping Q up on that the level above and being able to like see all of the members of Starburst, I think is a great position for her.
Identifying where you want to move on the attack, the quicker that you can get it done without communication, the more effective it is, Zach. These players so good at identifying where they need to go before the time has come.
Look at how narrow these hallways and pathways are. If you're facing 3 out of 8 members in this match have a wall at their disposal, as we see a double splat there on the side of Starburst, which will allow them to make what they hope will have to be their final push of the game on their route to a potential knockout.
This is huge. You can see immediately there on the top left, that's where the attack came from last time that they weren't able to slow down. This time they were able to get rid of one of those pesky 52 gals. In the process, Bran is going to move up. Will they be able to find Q here, or will Q hold on? Does get it here, and now still some more health, is able to get the splash wall out. They are firing. Ice is up there, just a few more points. Can Bran get back? Leafy goes to attack it. Ice holds it. This will be the lead.
They got it.
The other way. 3 down. A delayed wipe. They're all moving in. Madness, the last one.
And it's a delayed wipe too. Oh, wait, hold on.
Biscuit moving up.
Looks like they're going to get the knockout.
Can Biscuit dance? Not able to.
No.
Bagel's still there, but Milana with 30 seconds left. It's going to take essentially a knockout if Jackpot is going to pull this miracle off.
They certainly are, and you know what? They're going to really have to pull
Never
those
give
specials
up.
together. They're going to have to coordinate those Killer Whale 5.1s
They're
to
just
be
fighting
able
for
to
pride
know
when
exactly
that
where Starburst
happens.
is, because you know this is a pretty safe game for Starburst, and they don't really have to move that tower any further than they did.
And Zach, that was a very early tacticooler there. They know that they are going to have to win essentially 2 fights. They were going to have to win to take mid. That has been checked off the list there. Another tacticooler down. This checkpoint's going to go very fast here. Crowd makes some noise here. A huge fight. One goes down. They rush the tower, and Starburst
That's it.
takes it. Elation as these teammates pop up. Look at the jumping around. An incredible Game 5 set, and you could not ask for a better set to start off Splatoon 3.
I am honestly shocked. I was convinced as that blaster went down from Biscuit that they were in for a long overtime. But the rest of Starburst came surging back right out of spawn. Ice was able to make use of the range from that heavy splatling, and of course,
this is convincing me that
Bagel
Splatoon 3 is definitely different.
So well, especially on the 52, going up against 2 of that same weapon. And as I mentioned, that ever-present tacticooler farming Inzap. So phenomenal and great teamwork.
You got to switch up strats a little bit anyway.
Yeah, talk about the push that got them that lead. You saw that it was sort of a scrum. It was a scrap there around that checkpoint. And immediately you saw Leafy very wisely trying to take tower, understanding that it needed to go down there. But Ice, as he has done for years with a variety of weapons, dancing around it perfectly, taking out that 52 gal and giving them the push that they would get the lead with.
You know, it really takes a pro with really good movement skills to be able to maneuver around that tower the way that Ice did, and you know, it just shows you that Ice is a pro.
And as we wait for our next teams to get set, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that last set. And so much to talk about here. I want to go all the way back to that Splat Zones game and talk a little bit, because Splat Zones, as you noted earlier, Zach, is maybe the most common mode that is played at a competitive level in Splatoon 2. We wondered what that would look like without the displacement specials that are so common that we've been playing with for so many years. What was your take of how the teams played that Splat Zones map early on at Hagglefish Market?
Well, you know, when thinking about that map, I actually want to allude it to another map which I believe will be coming back in Splatoon 3, and that is Mako Mart. Mako Mart has kind of a flush-shaped zone, but there are some boxes and some high ground right next to the zone that give pretty much every type of weapon a shot at helping to paint things. We could see Ice getting all the way backed up into the tiniest little nook that was still in the zone, doing whatever he could to make sure it stayed painted. But I also want to mention, too, maybe the most popular sub-weapon in all of Splatoon 2 and 3 is certainly the Suction Bomb. And with that delayed detonation but gigantic relative blast radius, that was another crucial step, not just in Splat Zones, but in the other modes as well for taking turf.
And Milana, we'll go ahead and keep on this same thing, that Clam Blitz game. I know it seems like it was forever ago, but it was really just a few minutes ago. We very rarely see that type of Clam Blitz game go. Oftentimes when we see that, it's a mark of two teams who maybe aren't as confident in it. These two teams, as confident as they come, what was your take on why it took them that long and why we had essentially 2 whole games of Clam Blitz?
You know, I think it's a lot to do with the pressure of just being on a stage as big as this, right? You're gathering those clams and you're like, oh, is it the right time to push? Should I push now?
So turn me down if you need to, Kamikaze. I opened this up, so there could be background noise now.
The other team is going to capitalize on your mistakes.
I'm getting word from on high that Ashley has another series of fun interviews for us here, so everybody
My
don't
daughter's
go anywhere.
watching, and I
Ashley,
wanted
what's
her to
awesome
hear
you?
be able to hear the commentary there. So
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. I've got Lucia and Jorge here, looking very fresh today at PAX West. Did you play the demo?
Yes.
How did you like it?
I loved it. I'm so excited for the 9th.
Do you have a special that you're really looking forward to playing?
Can't be sitting on my keyboard.
Like, I'm excited for what I'm
Wondered what that was.
I'm excited for the story, like the story mode. I
No,
cannot
no,
wait
no.
to play that. And also new music. I am a music fan. I love the music so much.
The music in this game is pretty amazing. Deep cut, always ready for a tune. Jorge, did you get a chance to play the game?
I play it, yes. I play it for the first time here at the booth.
You played Splatoon for the first time ever here at the booth.
Yes, I did.
What did you think of
Yeah,
it?
I was watching some YouTube
it's
videos on
great.
Patch
I
Flash
love
set up,
it,
and
yeah.
it's like all Splatoon
That is
3.
amazing. I am super
Oh, yeah.
excited
Yeah.
for the launch of Splatoon 3. I'm excited to see you online. I can't wait to see you in the shoal. We're going to get our online play together. Thank you so much for talking to us. Enjoy the tournament. Enjoy the rest of PAX.
And so heartwarming to see players of all levels competing here as this new game brings veterans and newcomers alike. We have the bracket up here for you. An unbelievable act to follow that Starburst and Jackpot just treated us to. Jackpot putting up the very best, but they will be out now. This is lose and you are out in the bracket, so Starburst has moved forward, and we will now move into Mad Titans versus Super P. We've got the rules up here once again. Going to be a lot the same that you saw last time. Again, if you're just joining us, best of 5, the higher seed will choose the mode, and the lower seed will choose the stage. After the first game, the winning team will choose the mode.
Looking forward to seeing Rainmaker again,
We'll
too.
have to play all 4 of the game modes.
I
that
hope
you
it
see listed
shows
there.
up. It may
Before we
not.
can repeat, and our stage list over on the side can
Let's see.
only be played once until we rotate all
If
the
they
way
play it.
through. So again, if you are just joining us, you missed one of the best sets that we've ever seen. And it also happens to be the first set that we've ever seen here in competitive
Hagglefish is
Splatoon
a
3.
big, wide open
Milana,
stage.
again, as we get these teams set up here, how do you follow that sort of act? Their nerves have to be through the roof.
You know what? They might be, but with players as strong as the ones on Super P and on Mad Titans, I don't know. They feel like they got this under control.
Well, I'll ask you a follow-up there, because Super P, I think, being a team of players that have come together in a pickup here, certainly not as established as some of these others. What does it mean when you are players of that caliber? You maybe don't have the same sort of synergy, but you know that you're just as capable.
You know, I think it just comes down to how well you know the game, because once you have that familiarity with the game, you really could play with anybody. And, you know, all of these players are here to perform at the top, and they're here to win.
Exactly, and Zach, I'll toss the other team to you here. You cannot tell the story of Splatoon 2 without Kyo, the captain of the Mad Titans, an amalgamation of FT Win that dominated this scene for so long. They've come back, They are mad, as you would expect in the name, and they want to return to the peak. They're not just mad, they're voracious. Even in the original matches that we saw off-screen on the first Turf War game, they were screaming, yelling, hollering call-outs at each other. They were pumped up to win just one game at the highest level here because they know they're up against the strongest competition, and even players like Zero, who again, coming back from a relative hiatus and now trying to once again play at the highest level. That is not an easy feat or turnaround to make, especially with new mechanics in the game. Obviously, they've done it brilliantly so far. We will be going to Splat Zones on Undertow Spillway, and this is a very interesting one here. You can see at the bottom here in Splat Zones, you will control a patch of turf. After you hold, in this case, 2 small patches of turf, the timer will start to go down. You want to hold on to it as long as possible.
The double splat
trade back and forth. Whoever has the lower score at the end wins if neither team hits 0. Milana, this I would argue is maybe the most unique map and mode combination in the game, the way that this plays. We saw Undertow earlier in tower control, totally different in Splat Zones.
Definitely, and you know, I think what makes it really different is, like you mentioned, that 2-zone territory that you have to control. In Splat Zones, usually you have a map that has one big Splat Zone, but because this one has 2, you have to control both of them for a certain amount of time. And if you lose control of one, you don't get any score.
We're getting into the game, folks, here. Game 1 between the Mad Titans and Super P here. Our second set, if it can be even half as good as the first, we will be in for a treat. Taking a look at the comps here, Zach, I see a couple buckets, a couple sloshers, and I know you're a fan. Yeah, big fan of the sloshers here. And I think it has a really strong kit. But another weapon that I want to touch on is going to be that Splatana Wiper, the only Splatana class variant available to our players today. It's a great weapon for Turf War, and it has kind of an underrated special in that Ultra Stamp, which allows you to zoom across the map. Leotos, the only player that we really got to see use it here. We said it's a pesky weapon to pin down, and that is exactly how they're going to try to play it. Synapse, one of the very best at this 52 gal, is going to try to retreat back there. They do have 3 members here trying to attack Synapse, and they're able to hold. Meanwhile, on the other side, the early lead is going to go in favor of the Mad Titans. Pushing up, Token moving up there, Zero on the left side, Kyo working with them as well. They dive 3 down, and it looks like they're going to get punished for it. That's a couple going down there from Leotos on that Splatana Wiper, and now once again it's Super P's turn, Milana.
It certainly is, and you know, we really have to keep an eye on Leotos because with that Splatana Wiper, it really has a surprising amount of maneuverability. So to be able to like have that player just sharking and watching, you really have to be cognizant of where this player is going.
Speaking of quick weapons here, how about it? Zero, Mr. 3K himself moving up and attacking there with the Splat Dualies that he made so famous back in the early days of Splatoon 2. Zach, this is a very mobile weapon, and it's got a fantastic hit. Diving in there and getting taken out by Synapse again, and we have absolute pandemonium in the center of the map. I have to imagine dualies feel even better in Splatoon 3. Obviously not when you're taking shots from a 52 straight to the dome, but otherwise gives you a lot of great mobility there as we see Zero taking down Taco. Gonna be looking for a second one on a Synapse, and they're gonna use the roll of the Splat Dualies to get away, trying to find the third. It'll be a slosher, and they'll find the wipeout. Oh my goodness, absolute domination there from Zero. It's like they never left. Like he never left.
I can't even tell where the zones are.
It's going to be Super P's trying to figure out a way. They do have the tactical here from Taco, but where are they going to deploy it? This is important. If you put it too far off to the side, you give up entirely too much ground. And now the Wavebreaker going to do some damage here, and Taco needs to be careful. That's another hit. They finally do get the tactical down out of necessity. But Milana, I think this whole operation took a little too long.
I think that, you know, Taco was really waiting for that perfect moment, but sometimes that perfect moment just doesn't come. That you need to be able to kind of think on your feet, and you know.
Yeah, they're a little late to get this now.
Thick of the action is right here. There's only 15 seconds left. Synapse needs to get this pick and does. They need to try to hold it. Token's going to go down. They're trying as hard as Bert on the backside is going to get another, and Kyo is able to get another, and he is doing some form of taunt there in the center. Just 5 seconds there. Juan has to move away, but a dominant victory. Really the first that we've seen by the Mad Titans. You can see them clapping, banging their chests, and they are ready for this set, Zach. I know, Nine, you were particularly looking forward to hopefully seeing a potential taunt or coincidental dance from Juan Kyo, but that was a phenomenal performance, and it shows you how well-rounded this Mad Titan squad is. They, of course, have some of what have
Okay, did it just start, or am I late?
So this is the second semifinal match, so that, yeah, so Starburst beat. Who were they playing? Jackpot.
Jackpot.
Okay.
Yeah, so they beat Jackpot. It was a tremendous set. It went, 2-2, and so there's the deciding one, and the deciding one we just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was an amazing set.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it later.
Yeah.
I was at a friend's house. Anyway, so with this, so we just saw Splatlands. Is this the first set that they're doing? This is the first round they did?
Yeah. This is the
Okay.
first round of this set. They play best
They already
of
played
5,
in Splatoon.
and the winning team picks the mode, losing team picks the stage.
Okay. And are all stages available or just certain ones?
Just 5.
Okay, so Hagglefish, Undertow, Mincemeat.
Just the new
Okay.
2-3 stages.
But Zach, I want to talk
Okay.
a little bit about Rainmaker here on
All right.
Hagglefish, because we did not get to
And
see
they
it
only have the
earlier.
weapons
How do you
available to them
anticipate
that were
this particular
available in the
mode playing on this
Splatfest.
map?
Ah,
You know,
okay.
I think there is some hope for.
All right, so
Ooh,
you
it's
guys,
Rainmaker, awesome.
yeah, so you guys saw the checkpoints on Rainmaker already then?
Yeah.
Was
We
there
did, it
more
was
than
Does give
two?
you some cover.
So there's 2 before the final one, and it's
Okay.
really difficult to figure out how the point systems works right now. That's going to take some time to figure it out. So,
All right, and then also with Clam Blitz, was it 8 clams? It looks like
Yeah.
it did. Okay.
yeah, it was 8 clams. It was interesting. It looks like scoring, just based on the map setup, is a lot harder on Clam Blitz than it has been in the past.
Yeah, because they spawn in groups of 3,
We
not...
have some changes, Milana. I'm sorry, are those some
All right.
Tetra dualies that I'm seeing from Zero now?
Yeah, see, each side has 2... You don't have to go to one or the other checkpoint.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one you go to, but you have to do both of those before you go to the final one.
Over to that splatter shot.
All right,
Zach,
good
I
to
know
know.
you think that this is an incredibly powerful weapon, and Juan, certainly an experienced Kent.
You have to go to both of them, or is it either or?
You'd expect to see great
Both.
things from him.
I'm a
Okay.
big fan. It just seems to do everything really
I
well.
th-
It's a
I'm
free
pretty
shot
sure.
kill. It's got
They only went to
relatively
one the
low
other time, and
deviation,
both
as
collapsed.
we're seeing a couple of pickups there. As the
Right.
members of Super P are trying
Oh,
to
did
come
both
back here.
collapse?
Leotos
Yeah.
gets a
Oh.
frontal shot there with the charged
Oh,
hit
we don't
from
make it
that
up?
Splatana wiper, but they're only just barely going to be able to get stopped in front of that pedestal. Still looking to make a push going forward, and they have plenty of room.
Leotos absolutely dominating with this Splatana wiper. We wondered if anyone would be able to make this weapon use
see,
it.
look,
Finally,
now
the
Green
Reign of
doesn't have
Terror
the-
over
the
here,
marker
but not
anymore.
before the first checkpoint.
Yes.
Okay,
falls.
yeah.
Milana, when
All
you've
right,
been
so just
pushed
wanna-
back like the members
Right.
of the Mad Titans are, how do you go about getting some control of the center of the map?
So now you
know,
just
you're
go to
gonna
the
have
main
send
one.
someone like
Okay.
Zero in to get some picks before you send the rest of the team in. So having a player as strong
Yeah,
as Zero,
and like they said,
I'm
if
sorry.
you go
oh, I'm sorry,
past
what?
the checkpoint without
Somebody
hitting
had
it,
stuck
you
behind
don't
them
get
that
any
entire
points
time.
after the
It's going to be the
after the
first reflyer
checkpoint.
that we see. Some more taunting come out here, but guys, you do not have the lead yet. They aren't going to let the Rainmaker reset, or rather, they're going to try to grab it here. But that gave Super P just enough time. They had snuck him in behind Zach and were able to sneak out just a few more points.
Squids are exploding left and right. I can barely keep up with it. We have Bird here on the Rainmaker trying to do what they can to wait until the rest of their members are here, which they are
Their
now.
live stream is
Not
very
many
blurry.
specials built up though. On the opposite side, Super P trying to hang on, but they lose their tacticooler. They're not able to deploy it. Leoto's one of the last members alive, and they may have to use his Ultra Stamp to stop this push from Token.
Are they going to do it? They're going to opt to let the first checkpoint fall, and you saw the Ultra Stamp go off there, and the Ultra Stamp gets taken out too quickly. That's another one down. Zero is moving through. They have the Tacticooler. Token going to be the Rainmaker carrier. That's going to be lead, but they want a lot more. Token moving the Reef Slider, working the way, and stopped at just 3 points, Milana.
Okay, I get it now. So once you have the checkpoint, then the points start counting down toward the main pedestal.
Almost
Right.
getting that dunk. Still
Yeah,
at
because
3
they said in the
points
first game that
It is-
if you don't hit that thing,
Super
like
P's
say
really
the
gonna have to be
checkpoint's
careful.
at
Maybe
70,
another member of
you'll
Mad
get
Titans may
you
just
can go to that
walk by
checkpoint and get 71. If you go past that checkpoint,
Mad Titans
you're
right
never
now
going to get more
using
than
the
that
very,
71.
very tried and true strategy of I'm going to fight you and worry
You
about
have
what
to pop
comes
that
after.
checkpoint.
Again, 2 members over there fighting, willing to throw themselves at whatever is. How's about a third? Everybody is attacking. There is no slowdown in this team, Zach.
Okay, despite the fact that they just lost 2, there is some room for optimism here for Super P. They've already cleared that first platform, so they don't have to worry about it in the future. Even if they make it to overtime, they'll have 60
So
seconds
dashes can
just
still
to
be
get to the
effective
very end
here.
pedestal.
So
That
once you
gives you a
get
nice
once you
double
get
kill there
that
from Burn, who is apparently just
Pedestal.
guarding the Rainmaker while the rest of the
once
team
you get that
goes
first
off
one
to
out of the
side.
way, yeah.
Wait, did you see where his
letting the
wave
rest
breaker
of the
went? I
members
didn't
jump
see
in
it
a
unless
role
they
that's
popped
so
it
important
already.
for
They
anybody
just
who's an anchor player. Milana Super
Yeah,
P,
I think
we have seen can be so
Bigger.
dangerous if you don't have a player
Oh,
calling
it's
out where you can
behind
do it
something.
safely.
Okay.
Yeah, they are camping that Rainmaker.
Yeah, I see the camp. That could be really cold coming in for that.
So much action
I mean,
is happening. 3 down on the side of
the only way Super P is going to win is to get a
really going in for the win.
They are, and I love what you did there with the wordplay there. I heard Zero scream after he got all 3 of those members from up here. Now they're going to try to use a couple specials just to slow it down. That's a Dryzuka, and I believe that's all 3 shots with the Rainmaker still being up. Now Leotos very close and now does have that Ultra Stamp. When will they opt to use it here? Trying to pester, trying to identify where the attack is coming from. Does get a hit onto Kyo. Will they be able to close this out, this fight? All the while going away from the Rainmaker. Everyone is rotated over. It's a party here, and Leotos not able to get it as Token is able to take that out. Continued fights on this side. Zach, continued pandemonium. There is madness on the board.
One of the nice things about popping your special is that it actually completely refills your ink gauge on the back of you. So even if you use the entirety of your tank, once you pop that special, you get it back. And unfortunately, a Tudos here performed.
I think a shot pushed him into the water.
With the Rainmaker,
yeah, knocked him off the map.
Well, he was already low on thing, so he was either going to die there or it was going to reset.
Yeah, they were just killing the clock. That was a kill the clock.
Right there here, but it almost works out even better because now they're going to have to take it from that side. So many avenues to attack. They're going to opt to continue to do it here. And again, the continued attack. There was follow-up on top of that as well with just 10 seconds. Nobody left in the center of the map except for Juan. Would have to make a hero play.
I think Super P's done here.
A couple seconds. Will they opt to grab it or let it
I think they have one more
3,
left.
2, 1.
I'm surprised they took a Splatana. I really am surprised they took a
I don't see why they would. Like, I think it must work for fun for them, but he might change out of it next round.
The problem with the
oh, it was
Splatana
weak.
is it doesn't turf all, so you need to be going.
We talked so much about what we
thought with another weapon that changed to hide in and
heavy style would
shark
look like.
around.
What it would look like when tactical.
Well, not to mention that there's no way the player has the familiarity with it yet, just from one, you know, so that's a huge disadvantage they put themselves at by taking that weapon.
Yeah.
Recent Splatoon 2 tournaments where we've had such back and forth play while still having splat after splat after splat. The amount of aggression that we're seeing in these games is really indicative of how it's not just the turf that's important, it's who you're able to take out and win. We saw Leotos unfortunately trying to pop that Ultra Stamp in a last-ditch effort, and either they were backed into a corner or missed their swipe and were taken down on the back of it. So you really have to be cautious when you're popping that special and where, because the Mad Titans, they'll find you.
So we do have, it appears to be Tower Control on Mincemeat Metalworks that'll be coming up next year. So again, if you're just joining us, Tower Control, you are going to have to hop up on that tower. It will push towards your opponent's side of the map. You'll have to sit through a couple checkpoints there, but the important thing, Milana, someone's always got to be riding that thing if you want to score.
And, you know, it couldn't hurt to have a couple of your teammates pushing forward, making way for that tower to have that momentum to continue to the end point.
So I'm going to follow up with you here again on, because you've been in this position and you've competed at a high level before, you're down 0-2. What are the members of Super P telling themselves right now? How do you pull yourself out of this type of hole and get yourself into game 3, game 4, game 5, and so on?
I mean, I think it just takes a lot of being able to like reset yourself, reset that mindset. You know, you're good players. Everyone here is at the top of their game, top of Splatoon 2, now top of Splatoon 3. That they need to just, you know, kind of reset and bring their A game back into the action.
And let's talk a little bit more here about Super P here, because they've now gone over to Tower Control, Zach. And I would say maybe more than any other mode, this is where you will see big sweeping changes in compositions come out. This is where the blasters will come out. This is where you'll really try to fit an ink vac.
Oh, they have to shake it up quite a bit. They need this one.
What do you think Super P might try to pivot over to get themselves their first win?
Well, I think, first of all,
wouldn't that kind of make them a little desperate, though, with what they're going to try to do? Or do you think they're going to make
Well, they kind of are a little desperate because they lose this one, they're done.
So dominantly get to third
yeah, I
and
don't
below
think
on the
so. I
objective
mean,
marker,
usually
that
at
is
this
going to give them
level
so
of
many more
competition,
advantages,
these
especially
competitive
if on their
teams have been
clothing,
through enough
they're
of
able to
these
pair
that they
with
don't
intensify
tend to
action,
get
that
super
new ability,
desperate.
which you described,
On the
Milana,
other hand, I was
plenty
surprised to
of
see them use the
benefits,
Splatana
exhibited
at all.
probably not
That was a
anywhere better
big
than all
mistake.
those
Yeah,
blaster style
it didn't help
weapons.
when the Splat Zones.
So Milana, I'll ask you another question. Is again, we get the team
The
set
only
up
thing I think
here
that they're
to
using it
compete.
for is they want
the way
the
that
Ultra
these
Stamp.
attacks have come out here
Yeah,
from the members
And the
of Mad
Ultra Stamp
Titans
has
here, because,
already been shown
look,
to be
it's one thing
potentially
say,
weaker
let's
in
go in and
Splatoon
attack,
3.
let's be aggressive, but there's so much
okay,
more
so
to it
yeah,
than that.
definitely
It's
with
attacking
Rainmaker,
from
I don't
think
outside
it's
where
weaker,
you know
it's
another
just that
member is coming around to attack.
A
How do
player
you go
that's
about
good at
coordinating that
strafing
in
and
the
get
heat of the
behind
moment?
you.
I think it's
Yeah.
it's
Gonna take you
communication
out.
is key, especially for a team game like Splatoon, to be able to pinpoint exactly where you are and what your intentions are, and being able to communicate that with your teammates is just so important.
It's so important and so difficult as well, especially with the tacticooler coming in here. I know we've talked about that special to death, but again, it's so important to note here how much it changes. It does allow you to jump back into the action. It makes you stronger. It allows you to respawn faster as well. And these NZAT players, we talked about it in that last set with Jared. We talked about it with Bagel. And now Token, the member of the Mad Titans, who's been able to do it this well. It's that much more impressive when you're able to do it here. And building specials not nearly as easy as it sounds.
It certainly isn't. To be able to know
Where is
to
this
be able to know
located, by the
exactly
way?
where on the map you're
they're,
going to be, and to not like compete with your teammates to
Seattle?
turf. I think that
Okay.
is especially important, especially as a support player.
Here we go, Super B's
Hi, guys.
final attempt here. They're going to need to win this game and a couple more if they want to bring this back. Leotos immediately switching over to the Charger, and we see, there it is, Zach. The blaster is out. The Mad Titan Kyo himself is hungry, and we've got a game starting now.
We're starting to come away from surprises a little bit on the team composition.
Hey, well,
the
already
blasters are obviously
knows
quite
that
strong
the
on tower
pathway's
control
a
with that
little
big bubbler. The NZAPs
really
are a staple and a
twisty and
mainstay
turny.
already. And the 52s with those walls, you can see the way that this map has an upper elevation and a lower elevation. However, lots more broad room, so I don't know how much of
I would say maybe change it from the Platonic to the Charger might be a little bit of strategy on their part. But these teams
And a
just play each other
great
so
opening
much
there. You
that
saw they immediately
not
attacked the
gonna
two
surprise
members that
each other
tried to
that
punish
much.
them, though. All the while, Token and the other members did a great job of making sure that that push couldn't get too dangerous. It actually looks like Super P opted to completely give up the tower there, go back to mid, and hold on.
On this
a minute.
stage, I
That's
see
another two
Synapse
down.
as the
They're gonna
wild
be moving
card
forward.
here.
Synapse,
They
a
have to
player
keep
whose name we
Synapse
haven't
in
called out that
control.
much. You knew eventually.
As
gonna
long as
make
they
his
do,
presence
they
felt, Milana.
probably
And
win.
you know,
but-
Synapse is one of the best players on the West. Is that 52 gal is really scary, and you know, I think that Mad Titans is they're gonna really have to be on the lookout for
52 Gal's
Synapse.
been a strong weapon.
Already, Leotos
Yeah.
going with
Every
that
game.
Charger moving up here. They've got a couple
Well,
members
taking-
on there, and there it is. The
every
big bubbler
build is
getting pushed
usually
up
pretty
on there. Does
strong.
get taken out very quickly. The tacticooler there, I believe Leotos hit another shot.
So I don't
Now,
get
will
that.
Tack
So
will be
the
able to find a pick.
tacticooler,
Does. Very good.
when you put it
A
that far
nice
away from the
opening
tower,
score.
the
That's
tower
that
rider
early
can't
checkpoint
get
out
it.
of the way. Every push at this point will be a little bit easier, Zach.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a preview into the set that we saw here on the heavy Splatling. It's mostly going to be run speed, and this is the grading that I was talking about. You can't swim on it, but if you're a weapon like a Splatling, it gives you a big advantage here as we see them get an assist.
Oh, yeah,
One,
'cause they got
that's
the
gonna
run
be
speed.
A one-down situation, hoping to prevent the members of Super P from even building up any more specials at that point, but they will find at least one pick as both blasters go down.
Bird moving across there with that new squid roll. Leotos not able to get that shot. That could really come back to bite them there. Gets that one, though. You're not going to miss twice. And look at this. Juan move back to get Zero, who would make it the mission to take out that Charger. Taco going to come back in. Synapse gets it. That's a wipeout. Juan moving up. And a completely different Super P this time around, Milana.
We really see that teamwork really coming together for Super P, and you know, like I said, you really have to make sure that your teammates are pushing up in front of that tower. And you see, we have a member of Super P sitting on that tower, but the rest of them are working hard to, you know, earn their keep.
Gotta be careful there. You can't fire too hard. They were able to find Berto. How's about that? A really important splat to get. Gotta be careful there. They do end up diving there. What a gutsy call to make it there. Zero gonna come through in the cleanup, but really, Milana, everybody contributed to that defense.
They certainly did. Being able to have that communication open and, you know, to be able to know, hey, I'm going to go after XYZ player, and to be able to utilize that.
Nice.
Man, these splats are really going back and forth.
That killer whale, I think that Zero actually led that into Token. And how's about this? Leotos
Okay, that's
moving forward. Synapse
huge
moving forward
advantage
as well.
for
2 minutes left, and once again,
Super P
Zach,
there.
It's been Super P that's had multiple good attempts at this push.
Yeah, really, they're starting to cycle their specials.
But they need
quite
more
well.
points than they
Unfortunately,
got.
Though, if you don't stay alive, that's not going to give you much of an advantage as the splat goes down there.
Yeah,
That's
it's
going
not
to be 3
the
splats and a
push
full
down. They've
wipeout.
got a wipe
Mad
too,
Titan says,
so-
we don't need the lead, but we'll take it from you with a wipeout on the side. Synapse trying to back off in the midst of 2 differing color splash walls here, and unfortunately for them, they're not even going to need them. They're going to get that help from the rest of the members of Super P, and that teamwork is exactly what they're going to need if they want to win this match.
That fight took a lot of time there, so much so that everybody had to rotate over, and that allowed them to get through that first checkpoint. They do clear the tower here, but the threat is not yet gone. With Zero going down, though, it might be, and Taco and Synapse once again moving through. The blasters will go. It's a delayed wipeout this time. And once again, the members of Super P in control. Just 1 minute left, Milana. It really feels like they've hit their stride.
They certainly have, and just being able to get those picks, Leota's getting some really nice splats on Mad Titans. And
some of these maps are a lot harder to control
move up with them is
mid.
You know, chef's kiss.
And Zach, on the defensive side, too, that's what's really impressed me with Super P. It's another incredible shot. That's a huge offensive player going down. That's another one going down here, but hold on. 2 more on the other side. It's just Leotos going to opt to jump out, and is not able to get out. Token closes it out. And look at this. Zero jumped in. Kyo jumped in. Zach, they're all in a
They just couldn't lock him out at mid.
On that one. That was the very last possible shot, taking down not just the Charger, but also the Ink Vac.
They're going to get, they're going to, oh!
That's going to be 60 for the members of Jackpot, but will Mad Titans be able to reclaim it? They're going to take
they're going to get lead
It's going to be the lead. On top of it, Tom's going to find a wipeout. The members of Super P aren't going to have any specials at their disposal. And on top of that,
I think that's game.
Going to be deploying that massive
and match
5.1 that's going to give them even more of an advantage at range.
The snowball is starting to get bigger
That's
and
it.
bigger. They've attacked, and that's going to be it. As the Mad Titans will get the 3-0 victory. It took them a little minute to figure it out in that last game. The members of Super P adapted incredibly well, and for the bulk of that game, they gave it their very best, but the Mad Titans rampage is not done yet.
Making sure that they don't lose their cool is, you know, honestly, something that Mad Titans is incredibly good at, to be able to make those calm pushes back. And, you know, they only had like 30 seconds left on the clock. To be able to have that calm level-headedness. I'm like having trouble talking.
I think Kyo played on one of the FT Win teams not that long ago.
Let's go ahead and recap our action here. Let's take a look at the bracket, because we have our final teams, and a round of applause here for all of our competitors. Super P and Jackpot will be on the sidelines watching the finals. But Zach,
so I don't think the Mad Titans are going to be intimidated by Starburst. I really don't.
We've been watching for so
No,
long.
and wait, didn't you face them in the Airport tournament?
And sometimes
somebody, yeah, one of the Prodigal Squid teams faced the Mad Titans. Yeah.
Well, weren't you the leader of this?
My team faced Team DNA.
It's going to be just a few more days,
and
with
how
the rank codes work out and how chaotic they could be.
Then we must. Someone else faced Mad Titans. One of us faced.
You know,
we go back through the
don't go anywhere, everybody.
tournament bracket and see
right
your
around the
matchups.
corner.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks, everybody. I'm down on the show floor at PAX with Carrie and Luke. Are you having fun today?
Yes.
Are you enjoying the tournament?
Yes.
What is your favorite part of Splatoon 3? What's your favorite weapon you've played so far?
Tri-stringer.
Oh, the
Oh, really?
bow, huh? Did you get a lot of splats?
Yeah, but like
Not
you said,
really.
don't want you saying
Not
you're
really?
too unfamiliar with.
I think
in a
you're going to get
high-stakes
really
tournament.
good at Splatoon 3. Are you going to watch the teams play today and get some tips?
Yeah.
I love it. Mom,
So I think
tell me a little bit
didn't
about
Starburst
what
win a
is so
world?
fun
I
for
think
Splatoon
they
for you
beat
as a mom.
the Japanese team in one of the
I got to watch
tournaments.
him and his sister play, and it's not blood and gore, which is great. It's just good paintball fun, and that's what I enjoyed. And I enjoyed watching him play with, obviously, people older than him and beating them. That was exciting.
Yeah, that's always the best, right? When you get that really cool splat in, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Luke and Carrie, thank you so much for
Yeah,
talking
there's
to me.
a video of this little girl that she was playing within 3 matches. She's literally rolling around doing turf war, and she ends up killing a few of them. And she does fall off a few times too. Where she like wins it and she goes crazy. She never won it before. It's so cool for her.
Yeah.
You're breaking up just a little bit there.
Yeah. Well.
We lose Bree? Or is she just reconnecting? Okay.
Before I started, White Wolf was like, don't watch the comments. But they had that whole Mario Kart tournament. People were in the comments trying to spoil the...
oh, were they?
Yeah, I didn't have the comments on. I'm just watching the video waiting for the Splatoon thing to come on. So... yeah, I just... and you know the messed up part about it is, you know Nintendo had to say to these people, listen, they had to sign some kind of non-disclosure agreement or some kind of, you know, because their thing is just like, we want you to review the game and tell people what you think about it. You know?
Yeah.
But it's just going to ruin it for the legit people, the ones who are actually just there like, we just want to get the game, we're not going to spoil nothing, we're not going to say nothing you don't want us to say. We want to know if the game is good or bad. That's all.
Right, right.
And coming to like Nintendo is going to go, maybe we're not going to do that much anymore.
Well, I don't think there's a true way to spoil anything, but I do understand there can be teasers and stuff, and you kind of want to experience everything like for the first time. But my own opinion, I don't think everyone can tell you something exactly about anything. So there's always
spoiling who the final bosses were.
Oh, okay, and that's what yeah, okay.
You know?
Yeah, but I meant like, yeah, with everything else, like they can't tell you like where to shoot, when, something like that. Yeah. But I can understand a big thing about it. They can definitely give you a little bit of a bad thing with it.
Yeah, any surprises that are packed in the game, they can spoil those. And...
well, like for instance, I would like to know if the final bosses are easy or hard. And my guess is going to be hard, but...
yeah, well, I'm going to ignore all that stuff and play first. And
yeah,
I don't know how easy it's going to be to get through, but we'll see.
Well, hey, whenever you get through it, just let me know, because I will take any help I can get from it.
Like, I will...
yeah, I did the 8 times through to get all the hero weapons. I'm not sure it was worth it, but it got easier each time.
Yeah, I had no interest in doing that. Like, I wanted to beat the story mode but...
well, see, this was back before I got connected with you guys and everything. So
right.
I actually thought the hero weapons were different weapons. I had no idea they were just copies of what's already there.
Well, there's that yellow one that's not a copy, right? The yellow hero shot?
It's still a copy. It's a splatter shot copy.
Oh. For a best of 7, and let's go ahead and check out the
they changed someone.
Semifinal
the girl. Why?
One round go to 5 games.
He was
that'll bring
no,
to Starburst versus Mad Titans. If you thought
the Jackpot and Starburst, they kept on going back and forth of winning.
Let's go ahead and check.
And
they were pretty close matchup.
Okay. And then this
those
one
are the two veteran. Those are the two veteran teams. Jackpot and Starburst have been around at the top for a while. Oh, there's 2 additional.
Mahi and Museum.
Clan Blitz, Splat Zone, Tower Control, Rainmaker.
And Mahi.
Now we have added Mahi Resort and Museum de Alfonzino, and we are getting set here 9.
I like how they
zones in the museum.
The reintroduction museum. I like how they did the stage. Mahi, not so much.
There's a lot of familiarity. This is a map that has been slightly changed, but
I have no frame of
reference. And this was maybe the most popular map. I
like stages. I like the Splatoon 1 stages that I get to see because I never played Splatoon 1. But
they know how they're going to want to attack when the lockout phase starts, and more than anything, they're going to be very, very confident.
Looking at this matchup, let's go ahead and start with the Mad Titans here. We just saw them sweep their way through semifinals here, Zach. What stood out to you about their performance?
How dominating it was, and really there was so much talk going into these ranked modes about aggression is going to be key. Keeping up the pace of play and not giving an inch is going to be key, and they really did such a phenomenal job of that, and I'm sure they will in these grand finals.
All right, we are set to go. Splat zones between Starburst and Mad Titans. First team to 4 wins will claim the championship. 9, go ahead and get us started with this loadout here.
Well, immediately you can take a look at Bert, who has switched back over to that tent umbrella. This thing was absolutely ferocious in scrims, and the fact that he's opted to pull it
Yeah,
out
I know
right
this team,
now tells
Bagel
you
and
that
I
this
have
is the
seen
weapon
before.
he's been hiding all along.
Bagel already hydrating the teammates with that tactical.
Yeah, well, they're the top in North
zone
America.
is claimed
Yeah,
early on, and
I think
already
one of
what we
the
see
streamers
the
is friends with
aggression
him.
from the beginning, Zach.
Yeah, not just that. We're going to see sort of a metered style of play where they focus on, as we see here, the triple ink strike to give them that passive ink come, as we have the zone around 2 that will give them a bit of maneuverability for their other mobile weapon, the Splat Dualies, which will give them a shot to use the Crab Tank and do a lot of damage on both of its firing modes.
Starburst still with the lead, controlling the zone. Here's Kyo having to go ahead and super jump out of here, 9, and all of a sudden they have the Mad Titans on their heels.
Yeah, they have not gotten a foothold this entire time. Both Token and Zero maybe a little bit antsy here, trying to get into fights and have gone down very, very early. I don't know that either one of them has even gotten a special off after the initial tacticooler. Meanwhile,
they got one
Biscuit
there.
going to go ahead and get a
Yeah,
punish. Zero is
they
going
do
to
get
the
one, so that's
revenge
good.
at
Down
least.
1-1.
But Zach, they need to find themselves a little bit of zone here.
Yeah, this
Oh.
is going to be so difficult
just
now
use
to
much-
defend because
so
of
much
the
for that.
heavy Splatling, and that is a weapon that loves to have as open of a field as possible to make use of that run speed and also to build up that wave breaker, which this is a great
Yeah.
map to use.
That was
on
Mad
because
Titans that one,
other
though.
than
This
the
is Star Wars in the lead.
rotating platform in mid, it's relatively flat. They're not
Saying
even
that
Oh,
gonna
Mad
they-
hit it.
Titans
What a
were
rollover.
overconfident. Yeah.
Blinked and you missed it.
Gotcha.
How about that
You
juicy
got it.
performance
Sorry.
by Starburst?
I mean, unbelievable the way that they worked through that. And I said at the start that I thought these teams would be confident once the lockout phase had started, how they were going to move over. It seems like Mad Titans never really were able to coordinate how they wanted to come back in. You saw Bert on the tent umbrella was working on the left side. Kyo went over there. Where was Token? Where was Zero? They weren't able to make it work in the same way they were that last set.
And that's what's surprising, Zach, is that you can go ahead and claim the zone that early, but then to lock them out the entire game, that is some top-tier stuff right
You know,
there.
you oftentimes see your anchor players on Museum d'Alfonsino play on top of that platform. It gives you such great visibility. But when you have that much of the zone covered, there's really no need to be so bashful. The heavy Splatling doesn't even have quite as long of range as some of your other anchor options like the Hydra Splatling and some of your longer range chargers. So really, it was smart of Ice to know pushing up, using that cylinder in the middle as a sort of defensive shield, and to play around that while throwing the wave breaker was too much for the members of Mad Titans to push back in.
And 9, you look at the Mad Titans, they swept their way through semifinals. Starburst, it took them 5 games. Starburst to deliver that kind of message on their first at-bat, that has to go a long ways towards their confidence.
It really does. And after the set that they just had, they have to be confident that they can handle anything that anybody throws at them. The one thing that I will say in the Mad Titans' favor here is that this is a team that is geared to play on the tower controls, on the Rainmaker. They are going to attack, and on that map and mode in particular, you saw, it's not so easy when the zone is that wide.
9, I appreciate the alley-oop for the segue because we have tower control at Eel Tail Alley, and Zach, this combination here, this is one, as 9 said, Mad Titans feel very comfortable with.
Yeah, this one is not very easy to make your pushes through. They have that pretty long bridge over top of the map, but the big bubblers we've seen with tower control will continue to be one of the best specials that you can run, and I would imagine that they'll at least have one each here.
Let's rack it up again. Tower control, Eel Tail Alley. We'll see if the Mad Titans can bounce back after getting dominated by Starburst in the first game. Here we go, game 2 of our finals. Mad dash to the middle. Anything you see off the top here, 9?
I mean, the Blasters, these might be the 2 best Blaster players to ever come out of North America, and they used to be teammates. Biscuit and Kyo are going to put on a show.
Tacticooler ready to go on the onset. Go ahead and help your teammates get juiced up. Bagel moving forward. Both teams 4 on the map. Bagel trying to move forward. Numbers advantage right now. Here comes another little wave, and already 9, they've done a great job of getting out to mid and establishing a little bit of control.
Yeah, I think they've done a much better job here, and I think that Zero moving over to the 52 gal is a big reason for that. There's a lot more survivability with that weapon than there were with the dualies. As I say, that does get taken out. Ice is going to trade with Kyo here. Now again, Token going to go down. It's pandemonium in the center, with Bert being the last member of the
Oh yeah, that's good.
anything to say.
And Mad Titans, a really nice stand there, Zach.
Yeah, I think the tacticoolers, you can
They
see
needed
right
that
in the middle of the
because
map. not only is it
Starburst was
invulnerable, but for the other
outmaneuvering
team,
them.
it's kind
Their
of a homing
movement
beacon.
was
You
so
know exactly
good.
where the other team is going to group up when that tactical cooler is active, so you can hone in on that spot.
So
and
would
get a
like
couple of quick
during
splats
tower
fast
control, would it
enough.
always be
Bagel
the
once
towers
again
moving
setting up that
automatically,
cooler,
or
and they
only
get to
for
the
these
checkpoint here, and they're
tournaments?
making quick work of a 9.
I mean, a wipeout
No,
right
so
there
the
again.
tower's
The
only
Titans
moving
just
if
don't seem
someone's
to be able
on
to
it,
coordinate
right?
any
Well, it's only
attack.
moving towards
This might be
the
virtue
towards
of
the
not having
yeah,
a
but
backline
other
there. Ice
person's
has been
objective
really
as
undefeated
well.
this
This
entire
mechanic
time.
be
Now
in
it's just
all
Bert who's
game or
actually gonna get taken
just
down.
during
The
tournaments?
Tenderella
I'm
was able to
wondering.
go out, but look at this. Bran attacking, Zero diving.
This is how it'll be.
Wipeout
Yeah.
Normal, yeah.
Ice has
And
no
Starburst is it.
intention
Yep,
of
there it
chilling
goes.
out, and just like that,
That's
Which one was
Yeah.
that? Was that
2-0,
Yosel or
smacking him
Minton?
in the face and getting rolling here.
So
Zach.
Starburst's
the analogy
movement
that I
was
have
just
in Museum
incredible
Casino,
to
right?
start off
With
that
ice
match, and
on
it
that
looked
spot
really
lane,
lopsided,
behind the
honestly.
cylinder. Now shrink that cylinder about 10 or 15 times. That's what's in the middle of your tower and is practically your only defense when you don't have a big bubble up. Ice was able to use and maneuver around that space in order to both act as a distraction.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
a
about. They were
jumping
following
point,
Ice
and
for a
a
while,
flare to
and that
finish off
movement
match.
And
for
really, that versatility
that was
from Ice
incredible.
was incredible here, 9, because not only are you helping your team move objective, but you're also helping out all of your teammates as far as having that numbers advantage.
Yeah, and I think it's the one thing, again, that they have over the Mad Titans. In the sense they do have a true backline player there, it makes it that much easier when you do have to defend. Not that they've had to do a lot of that, but you also know that the opponent's not going to have that resource. They're going to have to be much, much more honest when they try to take the tower. And as you saw, honesty ain't cutting it right now.
No, it is not. So the Mad Titans
Yeah.
need to figure something out here. We'll have Rainmaker coming up next.
Well, wait.
Scorch,
I
Gorge,
think for the
Zach.
champions,
So
isn't it best
what
of
is the
7?
difference? What is
No.
the change the Mad Titans
Or
need to be?
I
Because
think it's still
Starburst
best of
is just
5.
trying
I'm
to
not
take all
sure.
the
Oh,
talent
I
out of
didn't
the
hear them,
finals
but I
right
think
now. They just
but
wanna get
usually
the
in the
fourth
other
Dipper
ones, it's
trophy
usually
and get
best
on
of
out
7
here.
on
So
the
this is
last
actually a
one.
map and mode combination I believe we've seen
right, I
before.
don't know.
There are a couple
Yeah.
of Rainmaker 3 modes.
Well, we'll
on
see. If they win
opposite
again,
sides
we'll
of the
see.
map, so it's really going to be truncated even further than you think it is. There's a Rainmaker pop in the center of the map, which is on a raised pedestal, and normally that's going to be pretty difficult to defend, but we saw in that first Rainmaker map and mode, once they get to those checkpoints that are on either, I believe, your left or right side, it really opens up the possibilities and the sight lines for your team.
And that's going to be fascinating here, 9, because you mentioned Mad Titans not playing with a true backliner, and now you look at all the ways that you can look at things on the map and all the sight lines that you have. How is that going to impact their loadout?
Yeah, I mean, Scourge Gorge here, again, the losing team did get to pick the map on this, so this is the Mad Titans going here. This is a really wide open map. There's a lot of greats here. This is going to be Ice's playground, so the fact that they've opted to come here, I think, means
Scorch Gorge definitely is going to favor range.
And this is a must-win for the Mad Titans. You do not want to go down 3-0 in a best of 7. So we'll see the Mad Titans grab an Infinity Stone and try and figure something out here, Zach. But right now, here it is. Here are the
We'll
loadouts.
see how they do with open and long range. Is there any long range
It
though?
could be potentially for Zero's return to
Yeah.
the Dark Tetra Dualies.
I just see a heavy filing, but that's all I see. The Inzap, Try, I don't know what that is, Slasher, Penta, and Dualies.
So it can do a big area of effect, bit of damage.
Can Starburst, the 4 seed coming into this tournament, the underdog, continue to dominate?
Well,
we'll find
they're not
out
really
already.
an underdog,
Rainmaker
but
grabbed
okay.
here by Starburst, and it's been these early starts.
Oh,
that
hey,
have set the
okay,
tone.
and then
And
match
just look at the way
too.
that they
Okay.
did that there. Ice was leading the charge as the backliner there.
I think they might even be the only North American team to beat Japanese team in the finals, aren't they?
Well, I know they got pretty close. I don't actually think they beat them, but I think they got like second. There's a checkpoint.
Incredible. This attack is going to continue. They've rotated again, and Biscuit has now once again hit Burt. If Burt goes down here, that's really their best defensive resource. They're moving this forward here. These last few points
Burnt's the
so
one.
difficult to get.
And Zach, we just saw Biscuit mow the lawn and obviously make some way for their team. At this point now already, you see Starburst getting the Mad Titans on the back foot. How do Mad Titans respond here?
Well, they have to use that canopy more. That canopy is almost like a light to a mosquito or a bug, where it just attracts all the attention. And speaking of attracting, we see the ink vac come out, which is bringing all of the ink into their person on top of the triple ink strike, which who would have thought that a slosher would be played in the grand finals of this tournament with its kit?
Mad Titans trying to find a little bit of momentum. Right now it has been all Starburst in this third game, just under 3:30 left to go. And right now you see the Killer Whale 5.1 coming out, a pair of them here, 9. And at this point, 4 the Mad Titans, you mentioned it, they can't get that collective push.
No, they can't. They haven't even gotten the Rainmaker to reset yet. Every time that sets have been about to happen, they've opted to try to fight instead. Now, thankfully and mercifully, the bomb is going to go off of the splash wall and take out Brand, so the threat is gone. They finally do have mid, but that took 2 specials just to get this.
Opportunity here for the Mad Titans to
go
finally
get your
move
checkpoint,
the Rainmaker.
guys.
They wait for the Tentacooler to pop up before they get
Well,
a chance. And
first,
still,
Bert
same issue,
needed to
Zach.
put
Just
pressure
the
on him, and they
aggressive force
didn't.
that
So
we're
he's
seeing
coming.
from
He's
Starburst.
waiting.
Yeah, we haven't seen Kyo doing any dancing on this one, despite plenty of opportunities with those triple ink strikes that they've been building like crazy. We also, I don't think, have seen the Reef Slider do a ton, as we see Zero pop it up there in combination with that triple ink strike. So really, that does take
They
away
survived the
a lot of
booyah.
I cannot believe that a kill even
there
came
you
out
go.
of that.
You're down
Unfortunately,
one.
it's going to be a
Okay.
trade, and Mad Titans may finally have an opportunity to push. However, Token going to be the last one alive. They're dancing around the Rainmaker free zone. I don't know how they haven't gone down yet, but finally they will fall.
The music ends for Token, and at this point for Starburst, it's just a matter of continuing to control the momentum here, 9. And at this point, you've got the lead. What are you looking to do with over 2 minutes left?
You're looking to keep doing the exact same thing you've been doing. Control mid. You know that you want Ice at that exact spot. I know that engagement didn't go the way they wanted, but that is the power position. You rotate everybody else over to attack. You stick the Rainmaker behind Ice there, and you wait and see what happens next.
3-3 on the map. You see the Tentabrella making its way towards the Rainmaker. Kyo trying to back up. Kyo just getting forced back, and Zach again. The ability to have the Rainmaker and push the opposition back.
That could have been a sweet little play there, but unfortunately, Kyo getting spotted out. However, they do have the advantage of the Tacticooler, and they're going to use that to their advantage.
Okay,
Falling
there you
from
go.
a large height,
3 to 1, go get it now.
Situation with only, I believe, the 52 gal remaining. They're going to use that splash wall, or bomb rather, to break the wall and try and shoot over this wall here in mid, which is one of the things the Slosher does absolutely best.
Kyo and company are going to have to work quickly here because under 1.5 minutes left, they are yet to get on the board here. 4-3 advantage. You imagine this is where the push comes, 9.
Yeah, you take a look right there. Bursty has the ink back there. They're going to try to set it up. Bert moving forward there. When is it going to be used there? How are they going to do this? Yeah, let's load up on the Tacticooler. If they can stick around and get through this, this might be the big thing. Zero's pushed up. Where are the attackers coming from? That's 2 down. They're going to have to get this first checkpoint. You have to imagine they'll get it, but no, wait a minute. Biscuit went ahead and got that. Now Bagel attacking. Now it's Biscuit over, and suddenly the walls have come down on this push.
No.
And Biscuit just baking everybody and putting a stop to that push, and all of a sudden Starburst in full control. Zach, they're looking to close this out. What's the key?
You want to think about the aim that you have with Intensify Action here. The key is being able to give your blaster room to continue doing what they've already been doing. And the Big Bubbler is going to play a big role in that if they can deploy it. They're trying not to do so, trying to peek over that canopy, and they're able somehow to get Bursty there. Zero also going to fall, somehow dodging out of the way and staying alive. However, they will finally fall, and it'll be roughly a 2v2 in the last 10 seconds.
All hail Biscuit, just dominating this game with under 5 seconds left. Mad Titans are going to have to be perfect to close this out. 4-4 on the map, a couple of specials ready to go for Starboard. Can the
They
Mad
can get
Titans
it.
make something
What does
of
it give them more time or what?
We got to burst it again, so that's a good question.
Tacticooler's out.
Definitely puts
Bert trying to push forward with that Rainmaker. Here comes the Reef Slider, and that will do it. Starburst 3-0 lead. Dominant. 9, I will say it again. The message they have sent and the way they have done things so decisively, this is unbelievable here in finals.
It is. The way that this team has adapted and played to their strengths and how quickly they figured everything out from the very get-go of that game. You saw immediately what their plan was. We're going to have Ice go on the grading on the left side. If we push the Rainmaker, we'll push it there, and we'll let Brandon Biscuit go to the right. They did that every single time that they wanted to try to make their push. There was so much pressure, and the defensive side wasn't too shabby either.
And we've talked about it, Zach. This is a game in Splatoon 3 that's going to force a lot of one-on-one situations, maybe 2v1s. Biscuit's ability to win the majority of those and really just snatching the momentum from the Mad Titans was the difference.
Look, blasters are just not known for their mobility traditionally, and the fact that Intensify Action can be paired with things like swim speed in order to give you that much more of an advantage and more dodging capability allows you to take on these weapons like the Camo Tentabrella, or the Tentabrella rather, that has this gigantic canopy. How are you supposed to beat that with any normal weapon? Very, very difficult. You have to go around on the flank. For blasters, they can just peek out over the top or on the sides and get that chip damage, making it enough to take a knockout or a splat from a safe distance.
9 will have Clam Blitz on Hagglefish Market. obviously this might be the last stand for the Mad Titans. How do they make sure these finals continue?
Well, the first thing you have to do is not take bad engagements, especially in those first 2 games. I really felt like the members of the Mad Titans were moving up and attacking when they didn't necessarily need to. And the way that Starburst plays, it's so difficult. You may be able to take one out, but if you take too much damage, someone's rotating over and getting you. You know, Ice always has his eyes on the action here, and it's going to be even stronger here in Clam Blitz.
Don't take bad engagements. Advice for Splatoon 3 and life as well, too. Here we go. Clam Blitz, Hagglefish Market. Will Starburst have a notable sweep of such a dominant team, or will a legendary comeback begin here with a victory by the Mad Titans? And as they make their way towards the middle, what did we learn last time, Zach, from Clam Blitz when you look at some of these specific loadouts?
Well, sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures, and we see Zero returning to an old favorite into Splattershot. Again, it has that 3-shot splat potential, and is also going to provide you with the Trizuka, which you have to be fast with, but as you can see there, it can at the very least back off your counterparts there and back off the enemy in order for you to pick up some of those clams, which are precious commodities in mid.
Mad Titans have yet to control a game from the onset. It's been Starburst fast out of the blocks, but right now, Nine, it does feel like Mad Titans are being the aggressor.
Yeah, look at this here, the maneuverability. This is what Comfort will do for you, but hold on a moment. It's Ice. Yes, it's a wipeout. It should be an opportunity for them to push. Can they coordinate it, though? The other members will have respawned in time.
There they go.
And we aren't going to have to wait 5 minutes for a score this time.
Token with the completion. Now let's see who else is coming to the clam bake here, trying to get some more clams in that basket, but already 25 points on the initial push. Make that 26 here, Zach. That's the start the Mad Titans were looking for.
You have to love the goofy music that plays when that barrier breaks. It's so fun to watch, but when that barrier goes back up, the enemy team is given a power clam to work with for free. On top of that, they're going to pick up a tactical alert. That's a phrase we haven't said all day, and something will have to give here as we see Ink Strikes, Big Bubblers all getting deployed here in this next battle.
Biscuit once again picking up the 1v1 splat against Kyo, and that's been the difference maker, Nine.
It really has, and look at this. Brand is moving forward here. What are they even firing at? There's not much left. Zero comes in and gets the punishment, and gets Brand as well for good measure. The killer whale is out, so they'll have to be careful not to give him any free extra credit, but that could have gotten ugly in a hurry if he hadn't stepped in.
Hit in the backfield, but he gets the pass off, so now it's a 6-point lead for the Mad Titans. Both teams, slight penalty, and that makes a big difference here, Zach, because now you're going to have a few more clams join you with that power clam.
Yeah, both teams already working off of a very small pool of clams, so that mid area once again is going to be the contentious zone because you have to find some of the clams that are available to only a select few.
Great awareness by Biscuit
now,
there.
Again, we see the killer whale 5.1 come out. Bert making fantastic use of that new squid roll, and also the wave breaker at the ready here, going to provide some valuable intel.
Oh yeah, they tamped it down pretty quick.
Job of providing some backline support as well too for the Mad Titans. That's what's been missing these last couple of games, Nine.
Yeah, this is a stabilizing force. We said earlier there that switching over
oh,
to that
cool. So Wavebreaker doesn't matter where you set it, it hits all levels.
Kyo needs to clean this up without going down, and does. Look at this, though. It's Biscuit here. They've got 2 members, and get him. Biscuit finally goes down without taking somebody with them here, and now mid going back to the Mad Titans.
Mad Titans in control of the map. Just over 2 minutes left to go. Bert with the power clam, and at this point, you feel like, Zach, that Mad Titans are getting back on the same page.
Yeah, they're starting to come back to basics here. Bert, their anchor player, is going to be the one controlling the power claim. That's going to give the rest of their team the best possible opportunity to push forward here. The triple ink strike basically laid at the feet is going to allow them for a trade. It's a 3v3, now 3v2 situation. Make that 2v2 as Bagel will fall. And now, despite holding onto the power clam, Ice will not be shy, able to find one as well. But Bert looking for the
It actually looks like it's harder to make power clams on
this.
this.
Pretty consistent with the last couple of clams this battles we've seen.
Anybody's game still. Don't forget, Starburst, one more game. They claim this championship. Mad Titans trying to stay alive.
So throwing the power,
like 3 in a group instead of 4 in a
they're the
group.
ones that really feel like
right,
in that initial
but
push.
it looks like throwing the power clam away because you don't want it to identify you might not be as smart of a move, potentially.
Up there. Token's going to try to jump down on top, but they got Kyo in the scrum of all of that. They're going to rotate back here. The power clam might break. No, Brand does get to it here. They're going to shuffle it around. They finally have it in Ice's hands, which is where they want. With 1 minute left, that's a huge pick on the Birds.
And look at that,
Yep.
14-0 Clam advantage. They dominate all.
Okay, they got another pick. They're going in.
That's going to be massive. That's a 3-down situation.
That's going in.
Get them. It's going in. Both of them are.
They put up the tactical right in front of the barricade. Bran hiding with 4 halfway to another power clam. They will unfortunately fall. Bagel somehow still staying alive, at least for the moment. They will lose the 1v1, and there will be some time here for Mad
Biscuit coming back, make sure to jump around.
Starburst under 30 seconds left from the championship. Can they hold on? Mad Titans, one more push left. 9, it's going to take everything for the Mad Titans.
It is. They do have that pity clan back there at the start, the power clan that comes up, so they will at least get into overtime here. You can see they're firing around the map to build some special. Zero goes down to the auto bomb. The lack of mobility on the Dryzuka set him up there to fail. Can they hold mid? Desperately need to not get rushed down.
They do have a clam on.
They have the tactical, so they'll have a little breathing room. You can see Kyo waiting for Zero to come back. Zero is back there. Keep an eye on the top of the screen. Not much time left in overtime.
Can Starburst do it? Can they shock the world? Trying to move forward.
Oh, no.
Down goes Mad Titans, and
That's
that
it.
will do it. Starburst started from the bottom. Now we at the top. They are your champions.
The point of the Splatana at their nape, and they don't flinch one bit, bringing it all the way back in the semis and finding the strength to not only win a map 5 scenario, but to sweep through a team that has otherwise looked emphatic in this tournament. Well done to a very strong and established team. They're certainly one to watch out for.
And 9, it just speaks volumes to just how diverse the talent pool is, and the fact that they were able to get through semifinals. It came down to
that was a
game
great
5
introduction to
Jackpot,
Splatoon
and then
3.
they step
It really
into
is.
finals and get the brooms with the sweep over the Mad Titans. One of the most impressive performances we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely, and a round of applause.
I was worried about Rainmaker, but after watching this, it's going to be a little different.
But so many different configurations, and it says so much the composure to be able to not only win that situation, as you said, but continue it running. Once Starburst hit their stride, the confidence started to come.
I think the real adjustment to the new maps is they're either wide open or super cramped, and there's not a lot of in between.
Game of the objective and never let go.
Well, like Hagfish is wide open and stuff like that, but Mincemeat is so cramped in there. And I think Eeltail as well.
These teams have been, you know, as far as Splatoon 3 is considered, they've had an even amount of time.
Yeah, I didn't see much of like walls to climb over, but I wasn't really looking for
any
it.
of these 4 modes.
So there's a lot of stages with a lot of walls, and I like those. There's a lot of kind of walls in the middle, with some of those cramped stages. So those are going to take a while to get used to.
All the way to the very end, pulling off the sweep.
Stages are harder to lock down the mid from those. So, well, that was fun, Kamikaze. I'm going to take off here.
All right. Thanks
Alrighty.
for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.